It was 1 week ago that the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series took on the season opening race in Daytona Beach, Florida. Chad Simpson outlasted everyone else as they tangled on the back straightaway after the third crash of the night took out nearly 20 cars on the white flag lap. This week, it's a bit of a return to normalcy at a 1.5 mile speedway, and while it may look like a cookie cutter track, the racing tonight will be anything but normal. Welcome to Sim TV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney and DeCuna for the second round of the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series season, this time from Sparta, Kentucky and Kentucky Motor Speedway. Finney, and welcome back to Fuel Action. You covered most of the season by yourself last year along with Connor Horn. You missed the season opener due to a belly up invitational, but this week it's you and I back on Fuel as it always was before. Welcome back, and let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these guys back on track, and obviously near the beginning of the season they always manage somehow, way, shape, or form to completely fill the grid, and it's absolutely amazing because I've never seen really any league be able to pull this off by completely filling the grid of 43 guys ready to tackle this track. And Daytona is definitely hectic. I think at Kentucky is also going to be pretty hectic around here, especially considering that this track was just recently redone.
Recently redone is a big discussion here, and you can see the configuration changes, the brand new asphalt that's going to change the tire wear characteristics around this place. It's a really interesting racetrack. It's one of the newer tracks in NASCAR, constructed in 2000. Ground broke in 1998 at a cost of $153 million, which you could argue how much that was worth it, but it's still here. Sparta, Kentucky, fun fact, population of less than 300 people. If that's not rural Kentucky for you, I don't know what is. But tonight, more people at the racetrack than in the surrounding town, but 117 laps for our second round of the season. Really excited to get this one underway, and again, 117 laps. This is going to be pretty wild with the high grip of the asphalt. The race start and the restarts are going to be pretty intense to watch, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Nick and Nick show up near the top. Nick Johnston up currently sitting on provisional pole. Nick and Delicato right in behind him. And nice to see Nick and Delicato making a start in this series after being really competitive in 3-wide action. Now getting to go toe-to-toe with the Fuel Racing League guys. And that's definitely stiff competition that he's going to be up against. Yeah,
I don't actually remember seeing him last week. He might have been there. There was a lot of cars, but some didn't qualify in. They're still filling out the grids here for Fuel. Really glad to see that. As qualifying completes, it's Nick Johnston on the pole with Nick and Delicato second, Thomas Bressy a go around in third, Colin Fambro in fourth, and Cass Silliman in fifth. Interesting to me, Finian, that the players up front tonight very much look like the players from last season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not too terribly surprising, especially Thomas Bressy. You know, he's really disappointed with himself the way that his season ended up turning out. He was so close to getting victory, but wasn't quite able to. He was just shy of it. But again, this season, I think he's coming with a new attitude and gonna try to definitely get this championship locked down. Already starting off really well with a solid third-place starting spot.
You know, something I just noticed, and I'm not sure if you guys are watching, but I think how iRacing gets the cars to line up that way is they actually put them in the pit stall and then they teleport them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the cars like slide across the pavement. That's really interesting.
I've noticed that before. It really is kind of weird.
Very weird. All right, well, we've got 40 cars on the grid. Let's not waste any time. Let's roll off the grid here tonight. On the front row, Nick Johnson in the 28 car, alongside Nick and Delicato making his first start of the season in the 74. He rolls off in second.
Yeah, back in behind Thomas Bressy in the 24 in third place. Next to him, Colin Fambro, who finished second place in the championship last season in fourth.
In fifth place, Cass Silliman in the number 6 had a good run last week at Daytona until the very end. Josh Robertson starts 6th in the 52.
RJ Root going to be lined up in 7th place in the 29 machine. Next to him in the 61, Bronson Stafford in 8th place.
Tyler Hensley starts in 9th in the 44 car. Hayden Pistorius, strong late last season, rolls off 10th in the 9.
Mitch Welko, also a really strong driver, going to be lined up in 11th place in the 76 machine. Jeremy Miller going to line up next to him in the 30 car.
In 13th, David Calba, the number 11, and the 8 car, Michael Stroll, starts 14th in row number 7.
Back in behind the main 15th, going to be Riley Thompson, 56. Jared Weaver going to line up in 16th in the 01 machine.
In 17th place, Shane Terry in the number 83, and Michael Skinner in the 27 starts 18th tonight.
And back in 19th, we find Richard Nash in the 12th car. Next to him, Zach Buchanan going to round out your top 20. Let the rest of the starting grid roll across the bottom of your screen here as you get kind of set for this race. The pace truck is about to roll off. You can see all the cars lined up on pit road.
That's a beautiful thing, and I am very glad my computer can handle this. I was a little bit worried. The frame rate's not great, but it's going to have to do as the field rolls off and heads down towards the end of the pit lane. Well, I'm excited to get this one underway tonight. Again, our first 1.5 mile race of the season, but these with this car are anything but boring, and Chad Simpson starting really deep in the field after winning at Daytona last week. He led one lap, and it was the last one.
Yeah, and I mean, he is also another guy. We're talking about guys, especially coming from last season, that did really well. He's definitely one we want to mention. Finished 4th in the standings last season, ran really well. Got close to getting a win on a few different occasions, so we definitely want to keep out for, especially in this race, to see him. I could see him definitely moving up through the order.
Field rolls onto the back straightaway here, and 14 degrees of banking. It's going to be just enough. But the fresh pavement should help. It's a little bit warm out here, though, today, so I can imagine grip might be at a premium.
Also, I just want to say, too, I'm loving the fact we got a lot of Ford Mustangs, which is a big departure than what we've seen in a lot of other series. Really good manufacturer diversity.
Yeah, again, a lot of Toyotas, a lot of Chevys, a lot of Fords in this field. If you want to watch live timing and scoring, you can do so at simtvbroadcasting.com/timing and follow along live with all your favorites. 117 laps, the second race of the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series season, about to get underway from Kentucky Motor Speedway. Nick Johnson in the number 28, so successful last season, trying to continue that success this time around. Well, the flagman is socially distancing from the tower today. He'll just hit the button and tell us to go green. And we're waiting for the green flag the second time this season, and it's racing from Kentucky in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. So far, so good. Clean getaway for Nick Johnson, but here comes Bresci to the outside in turns 3 and 4. Gunning for the race lead, going to try to get overlap. Can't do it. Tucks in behind. Now dives for the apron as they complete lap 1.
Yeah, he's holding no punches back. He wants to get past Nick Johnson as soon as possible. Immediately going to turn it up the inside here. Going to pass him into turn 1. New leader, Thomas Bresci.
Strong move for the 24 to the lead in turn number 2. Car on the apron. Oh, there's trouble behind. Car around, and we got a bunch of cars slowing to a stop and trying to figure out who's around. More trouble. That's Richard Nash, I see. The 48 cars also turn around. It's Connor Sawyer, and a couple cars dead stop at the exit of turn 2. Our first caution out of lap number 2, a lot like we've seen in the past with new seasons. You always get these early crashes in the early going. I saw the 48 car turn around. I'm not convinced. Was this the first car to go around? I think it was actually...
It was Nash that was the first car to go around in this incident. He was 3 wide with Zach Buchanan and the 0-1 of Gary Weaver.
Just caught the end of it there. Here, look from up above. 3 wide, the 40 on the bottom, Weaver up on the top. 12 drifts up into the 0-1, comes down, grabs the 40 of Buchanan, who does an excellent job hanging onto that car. As the 12 spins around, the 42, last week's winner, gets in it. He slides down the racetrack, and then the 48 at Sawyer, nowhere to go. He runs up into the 57, that being driven by Matt Rodriguez. But what a drive by the 40 Buchanan not to wreck that car.
Yeah, and Buchanan himself pretty much a wheel. And you can see right there, the car went down onto the apron, which is very hard to try to save here. We can try to ride on board with the 40 to see his hand movements, but man, great save by him to keep that car off the wall. Yeah, see, the 12 just drifts up and probably forgets that the 0-1's there, then comes down the racetrack, clobbers the 40, and look at this departure from the racing surface. That's a cool 175 miles an hour. Does an amazing job of wowing that car down and getting back into traffic. And you see behind the other car that got tagged there that sent the 12 car around, went and ended up turned around in front of the field. I think, was that a 20... Oh, is that Brian Chambliss? No. See what car that was. Michael Skinner in the 27 was the red car involved there as everyone stacked up. All right, so first caution of the night, Finian. But Thomas Bresci to the lead. That was a power move early. Can he sustain that throughout a run, though? That's yet to be seen. Yeah, that is right to be seen. I think honestly that was probably his biggest Achilles heel last season. He was really good on the short run, was probably the fastest guy on the track, but he was never able to really maintain that speed for a long run. He just seemed to burn up the tires too quickly and would start to fall on back. But again, I'm kind of hoping to see if he learned anything, because he's trying to beat Nick Johnson, our defending champion for this series, and it's going to be tough to beat because Johnson already back on form up in the top as well.
There's Nick Indelicato in the number 74. We've seen him in the 3 wide Grand National Series. Actually ended up winning that championship, and that was with the national car, the ARCA car. And that is also a low downforce machine. It's got a little bit less power, but I think Indelicado's experience in that series is going to lend him well come this season. Again, if he's here for the whole season, I think he's going to be one to fight with. We're already seen him gain a spot, or just drop one, rather, from where he started.
Yeah, and right behind me got Cass Silman as well. I see them back in this series as well. It's been a while since we've seen Cass, if I'm not mistaken. I think it might have been last time we saw them was in the IndyCar series.
Cass ran last week at Daytona. And actually led some laps and was up front for the majority of the race and was in position to go out and win, but got collected in the last lap accident that so many other drivers did. So Silliman looking for a little bit better run this week and currently running in 4th after starting in 5th. Colin Fambro's back. He hit a surge in the late season last year, Finian, so maybe starting off strong this season is a good way to get the momentum rolling.
Yeah, also nice, beautiful Pennzoil paint on that car as well. Love that bright yellow Pennzoil paint scheme. It just looks good, almost no matter what's the kind of decal on it. I love the bright yellow.
A lot of really good schemes. Even Hensley's with the chrome silver on the side. Of course, the Project 2 scheme's always looking fresh. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if they're using a spec map, but there's something about these paints on the Project 2 cars that make them look sharper. I'm not sure if it's the colors that they use or if there's some sort of spec map that they're using to make that color look a little flatter, but it's a really sharp looking car. Even the 40 Zach Buchanan, it's sort of the same thing applied to that number 40. And you do see right here, actually, there's a little bit of damage on that right front. And I'm not sure how much that's going to affect that car, Finian, but maybe he'll come down and get that repaired at some point later in this race.
Yeah, I think he's going to kind of wait until, I don't know, it's kind of tough to tell. I think he feels that he might just want to stay out there and just kind of deal with it. Does look kind of bad, but it might not be as bad as he thinks, so I think he's going to just, stay out and just kind of hope for the best. And also just remembering, too, that we're going to need for some long cautions.
Yeah, what is up with that? I was just about to notice, like, why are these so long?
Yeah, so this all has to do with the update when iRacing made the update to make the cautions on the longer tracks shorter. What they decided to do, it seems, is to make a short caution option and a long caution option. So you have the choice, which is nice. The problem is what they did. They gave that choice for the speedway tracks, but then to give to kind of set up to give a choice, they made the cautions longer for the oval, like the intermediate ovals, and they never made a short option. So yeah, we're gonna be essentially until they patch that out.
Well,
and fix that
I can tell you one thing. Is that, sorry to cut you off, I was going to say one thing, is that last week at Daytona, we had 40-something cars, only had a handful of cautions in that long race, plate racing. So I've got high confidence here, and again, now that we've gotten a little bit of lap 1 silliness out of the way, I'm confident we're going to get some green flag runs in here. The only problem is that tracks like this kind of lend themselves to those restart issues, so if you're going to get a couple quick cautions in succession, it's going to be a long night. If you can get through about 5 or 6 laps, you'll be good to go. There's a lot of fans here, and I guess the flagman decided that he's going to go up and join the crowd and get himself some COVID-19. So I think he bailed out in the stands and left everyone else in the grandstands.
All right, we don't need a flagman.
I guess
it
not.
was Porter's job anyway.
He was. It's like they got him from the grandstands anyway. I guess he just went back up. All right, so coming 1 to green here, and while we're sitting here waiting for the green flag, we'll mention that this weekend, this coming weekend, I will be at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for Grid Life Touring Cup. It's the next round of their 2020 season. I'll be live with a professional live stream on Saturday and Sunday. That's July 31st and August 1st. I believe it might be August 1st and 2nd. I don't know the exact dates, but it's this Saturday and Sunday. We'll be live for races 2, 3, and 4 on Saturday and Sunday because race 1 will actually be on Friday. However, we're doing a top 10 GLTC drivers shootout to set the grid for race number 2. So you're not going to want to miss it because we're going to do some really cool, almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically like a little time attack style competition within GLTC. It's almost like a heat race. And if you want to watch something really neat and unique, check us out. It'll be at Grid Life's YouTube this Saturday and Sunday. I'll be live with Grid Life Touring Cup Series action. All right, coming to the green flag, lap number 8 of 117. Bresci in the 24, Johnson in the 28, Chevrolet and Ford. Then a couple Fords behind them, another Ford and Chevy as we come back to the green flag in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series, racing again from Sparta, Kentucky. Nice clean getaway for the race leader as they come off of turn number 2, but Indelicato battling Johnson for second place, and he's going to grab it as they enter turn number 3. Behind him, it's a hornet's nest a couple rows back, but deeper in the field, they're getting themselves spread out a little bit better than they were on their initial start, Finian.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see these guys get more closer to the position. They're going to mostly run after getting quite a few spots in the start. We see Colin Farmer really slow. You see him dropping many spots down the front straightaway and still losing out on something. Did he get close to the wall or hit the wall?
I don't see any damage on that car, but might have had to lift out of a bad situation and got himself put back all the way into 13th spot as we rocket down the back straight. And there is the 40 of Zach Buchanan charging his way through the field.
Yeah, I was just taking a look back at it. It was out of turn 4, got a little bit loose out of turn 4, and slightly doored the 76 of Mitch Welker. And with both cars were able to safely continue on, and Fambro gonna find himself back in 13th after that mistake.
That's a great looking car, the 61 of Bronson Stafford. The Cineplex Toyota Supra down into turn number 1. And Delicato and Johnson clear of each other, the 74 to second, but Bresci is gone. Behind them, Welker and Damon Kalb running 6th and 7th.
Yeah, good battle for position, and Mitch moving up quite a few spots from 11th to 6th place already after the few laps he's had under green flag conditions. Joe riding on board with Riley Thompson now following right behind these two.
There's Kalb having a look to the inside and a big dive. There's a lot of grip down there on this fresh pavement. You can see that seam. He's going to slip and slide on the bottom of the racetrack, though. He got into the seam, had to lift out of the throttle, and Thompson had to as well. And it's going to create a stack up behind him. There's Hayden Pistorius in behind.
Former teammates, now in different cars and right next to each other, pretty much where they were running before.
And the 5 car trying to work his way back up the order after his slip up a few laps ago behind the 30 of Jeremy Miller.
Yeah, this is going to be, it's looking to be pretty tough to pass at the moment considering how all these guys bottom feeding. And I think it's going to be really key, at least in this early part of the run, to defend that bottom lane. Still, we're looking at David Cowell up ahead. Finally gotten past the 56 of Riley Thompson. Now he set his sights on Mitch Welker.
And he slipped up and almost lost that spot. Christian Gritzko in the 91, another car to keep an eye on here as you see the 11 go back to the inside of the 76 down into the first corner. And it's so hard to keep momentum rolling down here, especially through 1 and 2, but he's got it this time and didn't slip, so he should be able to get this spot away from the 76.
And some nice order to action between these drivers, and Cal's going to send it down deep into turn 3, going to slide up in front of the 76 and take the spot away.
The 38 of J.J. Odell got into the side of Christian Gritzko, almost turned him around. That was mighty close to being a big wreck right there. Look. Come in, and the 38's going to, I guess he just loses the front end. I'm not sure the 91 might have come down slightly here, Finian. But the 38, they did touch just the slightest bit, but that's at 175 miles an hour.
Yeah, it looks like they're able to avoid each other. That could have been very bad and gotten very bad very quickly, but they were able to just avoid disaster. Looking at Matt Hall in the 02 machine.
Started in 25th, he's gained 4 spots already. Nick Johnson has gotten back by Nick Indelicato and a few other cars as well, including Tyler Hensley. He's going to go to 3rd. His teammate leads the race. And for these drivers, Finian, for this team, Bresci and Hensley, they're having a great start to this season and this night.
Yeah, and especially for Hensley, too, who didn't have a particularly good last season. As I say, that 3 wide into turn 3, this isn't going to work.
The 30 car Miller diving up underneath Hayden Pistorius 9, going to drift up a little bit, use up Shane Terry on corner exit. Will somehow walk out of that without tearing up some cars, and you're going to see in the background 51 of Curtis Yancey, and they're still trying 3 wide back here.
Everyone's completely going at it, trying to make up spots. Speaking of which, Zach Buchanan right in behind Curtis Yancey, the driver we're on board with now.
And Buchanan from 20th to 14th, one of our bigger movers so far. And trying to get up there with the 76, his teammate, who's getting kind of ganged up on right now. He's got Riley Thompson through him. Hayden Pistorius is now having a look at the inside of the 76. Welker going the wrong direction here early.
He's slowly drifting back to where he started back at 11th, was high up at 6th. So, as you're saying, not particularly good run of momentum for him as you look further back. And Matt Halva dealing with some other cars.
Nate Stewart in 13 on the bottom of the racetrack as well. Also notice a pretty rough transition from the apron to the racing surface on the front straightaway, and that's going to be really interesting to watch how that progresses once the tires start to wear out, if that will become a trouble spot with people getting loose returning to the racing surface.
Yeah, we already saw some people a little bit loose earlier on, speaking of which, again, the 5 of Colin Fabry was recovered back up to 11th and has climbed back forward. But we've already seen some guys be a little bit loose, and it's only going to get worse as the run goes on. Whoa!
More pushing and shoving. There's the 91 to the inside now of the 40. I also saw Fambro had a slip up again. He's going to drop a few more spots back, but working back by the inside of the 30, going to push up the racetrack. And we're going to see a lot of this bullying tonight. People just pressuring the driver next to them use a little bit more racetrack. And the problem with this is that you want them to use more because there's about 50 feet of track to the right side of their door. That doesn't mean it's 50 feet of usable, grippy racetrack, and they're going to fight tooth and nail to hang on to their spot.
Especially once you start get out of the groove, when all the rubber gets put down, it becomes a lot harder to run there. And actually, I'm looking at the battle for third place brewing between Delicato and Tyler Hensley.
Delicato, I think, is pretty quick, but might have had a slip up a few laps ago that led to him dropping back to 4th, and he wants 3rd place back. He's going to head to the inside of the 44 on the front straight, as Nick Johnson has reeled in Thomas Bresci, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't, for Nick Delicato, I don't think that was really a mistake. I think, remember, he's probably one of the best guys we've seen being able to manage tires and keep the pace going. And again, this is what we've seen time and time again last season, was with Bresci pulling to an early lead, Johnson chasing him back down. Interesting seeing how this fight's going to brew, because Nick Johnson been eating it into his lead by quite a bit over the last few laps.
Well, all that's going on. It's getting real tight back here. Look at this mess out of turn number 4. There's the 40 car in the middle of all this. He's dropped back to 20th spot again, so something must have happened there. There's the 91 of Gritzko on through, but it's getting real busy right now, the mid-pack.
Yeah, and everyone's just completely going for position, and looking at Buchanan, he just got kind of bullied out of the inside lane. That's kind of why he's back here.
Crossover there by the 34 of Robert Kenny. Sorry to buck over you there. But Robert Kenny had a pretty good run last week at Daytona, and pretty deep in the field start for him today. Started 27th. He's up to 20th. Let's go back up to the race lead, because here comes Johnson right on the tailpipes of the 24. You mentioned this is how a lot of the season looked last year. I mean, did Bresci learn anything, or is this a racetrack that's harder or easier to conserve tires at with the new pavement?
I mean, you would think that it would be easier to conserve tires on the newer pavement. That's typically how it's gone. You think of tracks like Michigan, that really benefited from it, Texas as well. But we'll see here again if Bresci's just kind of back off a little bit, maybe saving some more stuff, or he's actually losing tire and losing grip to work with.
He may be a little loose off into turn number 1 as well. We'll have it gathered up for now. There's Mitch Welker on the outside, still going the wrong direction. The Project 2 Supras both going backwards for the time being. Curtis Yancey in the 51, working over Calvin the 11. Still pretty tight pack here. We spread out sort of throughout the field a little bit, but we still have these little micro packs that are still forming up and creating potential for things to go wrong.
And Cass Tillman, we're talking about people dropping back like Mitch Welker. They just fell back to 10th place. And so not particularly a good run for Cass.
Not right now, and maybe it's, again, trying to figure out what the tire situation is going to be this race. How much can you lean on him? How much are they going to wear? But Cass still has some work to do to get that car in tip-top shape and move back forward. Curtis Yancey working over Calb, as I mentioned before, now to the inside in turn 3.
David Calb, too, looking at his left side door, that door is dinged up, and I'm not exactly sure why. Definitely had some contact with another driver.
Now, I'm really interested to see. We always talk about the aero push on the Cup cars. It's still there in the Xfinity cars. It's just not as severe. I'm curious if Johnson can overcome that on a surface that's this grippy, where the lead car is this much of an advantage.
And that's the big thing, too, is I think, we were talking about it as well. There's all this racetrack you can use, but again, like you're saying, just because it's usable, or just because it's there, doesn't mean it's completely usable. And everyone, again, still bottom feeding out of both sides of the track. So Johnson is going to be tough to try to make the move on the outside. He's got to force Bresci out of line.
Riding the tailpipes of the bright green 24. Kind of harkens back to the old Nicorette schemes that Jeff Gordon used to run. Johnson turning in a lot earlier. Big dive to the inside in turn 3. Almost a touch to the rear quarter panel there. Real tight as they come through 3 and 4.
Boy, he's riding him like this. And these guys had quite a bit of experience riding next to each other last season on multiple occasions. Sometimes it went well, sometimes it didn't. But they're giving each other a lot of space since the beginning of this season.
Well, so far, we're only 27 laps in. The 28's still there, and maybe a bit of a pinch there by the 24 as they exit turn number 2. Johnson's been a hair quicker the last couple laps, but has nowhere to go with Bressie hugging that yellow line.
Able to muster up some decent runs out of the corner, but again, there's nowhere exactly to go with it. You see Bressie going to slam the door shut, force Nick onto the apron.
Hole's going to open for turn 1, but Bressie's driving off into the corner a little bit deeper. He's sacrificing some exit, but now the 28's got a nose in there. Got to leave a little bit of space, and they have so far, but I can only see this going wrong the more and more they do this. Into turn 3.
Johnson, yeah, chucks it up the inside, but he's going to get pinched here. At least Bressy's going to try to pinch her. You can see he's giving up space. I don't think that's because he wants to. I think he just really, the car's just struggling to turn at the moment.
And now the 28's fully alongside, and he'll have a much easier time maintaining his own line through the corner because the 24 can't turn on down, and Johnson's going to muscle his way to the inside. Bressie will not give up yet. He'll throttle up the 24 mid-corner, and they're going to drag race down the backstretch.
And what an excellent battle between these two. This is, again, exactly how last year let off. Bressie going to throw it in very hot into the corner. He's going to have to back off. This could be what Johnson needs.
Yeah, now throttling back up. All the 650 horses back to the ground on corner exit. And still side by side. And this becomes infuriating for the trailing driver in Nick Johnson's case because he feels like he's faster and wants to get by. He's going to get harder and harder off into the corners. And going to continue driving down there. The 24 is doing everything he can and doing a good job right now.
Yeah, so the big thing for him is trying to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake. But how about this? This is what NASCAR really needs. Guys fighting side by side for the lead lap after lap after lap. These guys still not giving up.
I have a feeling that the 28's going to win this. They touch a little bit out of turn number 4. They door slam on the front straight. Side by side, trade and paint the NASCAR way at Kentucky. I can only imagine some of this is turning into frustration very quickly, though.
Talk about rivals. This is one right here, a big one between these two guys. You can see it on the track.
Into turn 3 again. Now there's a little bit of damage to both the left side of the 24 and the right side of the 28, but again, I think Johnson is eventually going to win this fight, but he is not giving up on the outside lane as Bressie. He's fighting for everything he's worth.
Yeah, and Johnson, you can see the car pushing up on exit. Bressie's saying, nope, you can get back down there because he's not giving him the space. He doesn't want him to run off. And Bressie actually starting to win on that outside lane, which I'm actually kind of surprised by.
Yeah, but he drove in a little bit too deep, and he's going to get used up on corner exit.
Oh, wow.
The 28's clear, but not quite. He's still got a nose in there. They're touching down the back straight. Now the crossover by the 24.
Couldn't quite get there to the inside. It looks like the battle has been won, at least for now, from Nick Johnston. See Bressie, look at the car pushing up the hill.
Yeah, he's just a little bit tight right now. The 74 of Indelicato was coming, but how about how tight that was at the exit of turn number 2? Look at this. This is about as tight as you want to get. Oh my goodness, that was inches that they were playing with there, Finian.
And still not completely done yet. Bressie is still in behind Johnston. He's going to, I think, fall back a little bit, especially you can see the 74 there. He's starting to appear into the picture.
And Indelicato was quicker the last few laps than both the race leaders, and they burned up their tires, I'm sure, playing around quite so much.
And also, one guy I wanted to point out that I didn't think would be up nearly this far up the order is right there, that Pennzoil machine, the 5 of Colin Fambro. What a great recovery up in the 4th.
You didn't even have to tell me who to look at, Fane. I knew exactly who you're talking about because we had seen him pretty far down the order after his issues earlier in the race, but he's climbed all the way back up inside the top 5 as we got some trouble, David Kell.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was, he was involved in another incident with the 34 Robert Kennedy. There was a car spinning off of turn 4.
Oh yeah, right there. Gonna get together on corner exit and did a good job hanging onto it. Wow, he was wheeling that thing for a little bit.
Yeah, caught some air as well.
And I think maybe the 13 is gonna run him up the racetrack. That would have been Nate Stewart. And right there, just kept pulling him up. Gonna put him in the wall there. That comes off the wall and collects the 34. And Robert Kennedy did a good job getting back on track and not bringing out the caution.
As we go back live, battle still brewing for the lead. Bressie counting the back of Nick Johnston, but that's allowed Indelicato. Look, he's right there. He's gonna potentially take the lead away.
He's been flying right now, and he's got a little bit less tire wear because he wasn't messing around like those 2 leaders were. So you can battle all you want. You're just going to burn up all your stuff. And Delicado has been just cruising back in 3rd. And this is how he won the championship in 3-wide last year. Not by having the all-out pace all the time. It was because he was able to save his tires. And that even mattered in the season finale at Atlanta where he won the championship.
He's sending the car into the corner. He's going to be very nervous that he's going to punt Nick Johnson around one of these times.
Here comes the 74 to the inside.
Not quite there. Bresci going to slam the door shut through the front straightaway.
It's a great battle up in the front of the field here. 37 laps in, 1 caution on the opening lap so far. Johnson, Bresci, and Delicado. 3-way battle for the lead. 1.8 back to Colin Fambro. Bresci starting to back off the entries just a little bit, but that's given the 74 a pretty good run into the corner as well.
Yeah, I'm saying Bresci's been doing a pretty solid job at conserving himself better than he did last season. He's still maintained up with Johnson, hasn't quite lost him.
Well, remember, Johnson was stuck in that bottom line for about 5 or 10 laps while he was fighting the leader. That probably helped those right sides get used up a little bit more. Jeremy Miller out of line in turn 1, dropping back a couple spots. And Zach Buchanan, talked about him a little earlier. He was up inside the top 15. I think he's picked up some more damage because he has fallen all the way back to 24th now.
Yeah, I did see that car get more damage. I wasn't exactly sure where he picked it up from, but he is really struggling now. And I'm not exactly sure if this is purely the damage he got initially, that hit that sent him almost spinning to turn 1. Whoa, I just heard something off of from Thomas Bresci.
Wonder if there was maybe a touch between him and the 74. Go back and invest.
Oh, it was Bless Lopez heading down to turn 1 that almost wrecked the leaders.
Let's go back and have a look at that. So here's Nick Johnson bringing the field into turn number 1. There's Bless Lopez in the 1. Oh, just wow, walled himself right in front of Thomas Bresci and others. And this is a very simple pace of target fixation, but that was mirror fixation for the 1 car. That's a very dangerous thing to have happen when you're in front of the leaders.
Hey, great job by the leaders to get around them, though. I'm amazed that neither one of them wrecked. I know Bresci picked up some damage he's probably going to be not too satisfied with, but it's amazing that all of them...
Oh, he's in the wall again. Yeah, he just got in the wall at a turn 4. And you can see there's some significant damage to that right rear quarter panel now. This is all slipping away pretty quickly for the 24 after a strong start.
Oh, rushing out.
This time it's Bless Lopez. Managed to get it done this time out of turn 4. And let's see what happens here. He's way off. Looks like he was accelerating out, and Jeremy Miller just comes up and turned him around. What's your thought on that?
I don't know. I want to get a different angle.
Well, from my perspective, the 1 car's way off pace here, Finian, and in the racing line. And from my perspective, if I'm the 30, I probably wouldn't have lifted either.
No, yeah, and I mean, you have to have some sort of expectation. You know, Jeremy Miller's coming off the corner normally. He didn't really deviate. And yeah, Bless was really off the pace, and I also have to consider too that Miller, he's trying to turn left as much as possible. He doesn't want to hit the wall or another car. Unfortunately, he just ended up there. So Bless Lopez, he goes around, and that car pretty dinged up. We might not see him back on the track.
Yeah, and there might be some that might say, well, you know, it's the passing car's responsibility. Yeah, you're not wrong, but to an extent, I think there's a limitation to that. I think we just met it. Also, with the 1 car, not really willing to give him the benefit out of the doubt after walling himself in front of the leaders. So Bless Lopez off track here, lap 42, our second caution of the day, and good timing for everyone else to come hit pit lane.
Yeah, I'm sure they've been dying to get some fresh tire, fresh rubber on these cars. They have not had a chance to since the drop of the green flag, at least their leaders. But now here they're all on pit road, and this is going to be interesting to see. I don't think we're going to see any strategy. I'm curious to see if we might see any mistakes from these guys now, because this is the first pit stop of the day. Bound to see some guy just slip on through their stall, and that costs you a lot of spots.
Like Delicado pushing the 28 car down pit lane. They're going to aim for their pit boxes and all come to rest. 1, 2. Wow, that was cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, all in their boxes, nice and neatly. So Cass Hillman's back there in 5th place as well, 5th box. Let's see if Cass can grab a couple spots here on the pit lane. Went race off the pit road. Wow, Hillman with a good run off. Was that a 2-tire stop? Indeed it was. I like this call for Cass. Again, I know we're pretty deep into the race, Finian, but I haven't seen tire wear be that big of a deal. I'd have to think that a 2-tire strategy this early in the race would not be a lot telling you to not do it.
I mean, you got to try something, and you can't blame him for doing that. So we'll see if that's going to pay off for Cass.
So we'll run down the order here as we came off pit lane. Then we'll take a very short break, return for the green flag. Johnson, Silliman, Indelicato, Fambro, and Bresci will slide back to 5th. And it looks like the 76 of Mitch Welker end up all the way back in 28th, and that was for damage repair for penalty.
Yeah, well, if anything, I think it might have been for damage repair. He was also kind of finding himself towards the tail end of the pack with some damage. I think Zach Buchanan, he's also down in pit road, just got off in a way. He's fixing his car. Now I think a really good opportunity. He was already pretty much back there in 25th when the caution came out.
We'll be back for the restart in just a moment. Stay with us.
In the heart of Virginia, there's a stretch of pavement that has ingrained itself in American racing history. Built in 1957 with just a bulldozer and a plot of land, Virginia International Raceway has become an icon. Over the years since its reopening in 2000, it has hosted IMSA, the American Le Mans Series, NASCAR, SCCA, and Champ Car races. Legends have raced there, including Roger Penske, Mark Donohue, Richard Petty, Hurley Haywood, Dan Gurney, and more. Between turns 11 and 12 stood a defining feature, oak tree. This tree stood untouched, shading the south end of the course for decades. For some, oak tree became a symbol of VIR and a reminder of how road courses used to be built. They used to be built with the lay of the land, following each contour and moving around obstacles, not through them. Earth may have been moved, but not tarnished. Oak tree was a lasting memory of when tracks were not just built, they came to be, like the tree. Although oak tree no longer stands, nor does Hog Pen turn 17, the corners both still bear the name of what used to exist. And the track stays unchanged the way it was meant to be, with the lay of the land, for the land. Maybe that's why Paul Newman called it heaven on earth.
Welcome back live to the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series from Kentucky Speedway. We're 45 laps into our 117-lap race. Second race of the season, it was Daytona. It was the 42 of Chad Simpson that outlasted everybody else last week to get the race win on one lap led. Simpson sits 20th right now, Finian, but so far it's been a tale of three drivers. Nick Johnson, Nick Indelicato, and Thomas Bresci have been the three best ones all night, but Bresci, just prior to that caution, was having some issues and was sliding backwards, and the caution has pushed him even further back.
Yeah, and so this is going to be interesting to see how he can rebound from this, being back in 5th place. I mean, it's not too terribly bad. And again, it definitely has shown he has the pace to get things done. I'm actually curious if he has the fastest lap of the race. I'm pretty sure he actually does by a decent margin with a 31.057. Yep. He is the fastest lap. So he's definitely got the pace to get back up to the front. And again, the big concern, I think, is the longevity, which I will say he does seem to have somewhat that as well. I think Johnson and Indelicato will do him one better in that department, but it's looking be a lot more evenly matched this season.
A couple wave arounds here, kind of racing each other. The 29 of RJ Root and the 27 of Michael Skinner catch back up to the tail of the field as we get lined up, re-racked and restacked for our second restart of the night. Had a pretty sizable run, about 40 laps between, or maybe a little more like 35, between our first restart and our second caution. I would expect something similar there. It wasn't due to anybody having car contact. It was just lap car kind of sort of in the way. So with that out of the way, should be set for a pretty long green flag run. I think that's been favoring the 28 of Nick Johnson. However, short runs, I think it's anybody's game right now.
Yeah, it really is, and I think that if we do get some more short runs, is going to play more into that 24's favor. Definitely going to want to keep an eye on him. Really, I think anyone at the moment in the first 3 rows has got a solid shot at winning this race, so we'll see how this goes on from here on out.
Keep an eye on the track temperature as well. Go ahead.
I was going to say also, Ford Mustangs in the top 4.
Well, the Blue Ovals, they're not quite home in Michigan, but Kentucky will have to do. This is actually a home track for Toyota, and I don't think there's a single Toyota. Yeah. Until we get back to about 8th or 9th spot. So green flag back in the air here in Kentucky. A bad restart for the 6th of Cass Dillon, and the 5 of Colin Fambro has to wait, and he'll have to give up a lot of spots as well. Look at Bresci down the inside. Grabbed a couple spots in one go as he hit turn 1.
He's taking no prisoners, trying to get back up near the front of the field to chase them, because he knows he's going to be fighting with both Nick Delicado and Nick Johnston for the win of this race. He's going to throw it to the inside of Cass Dillon.
He is just absolutely an animal on these short runs. If we get a short run to the end, I think he's the driver to pick, but you get a long run, maybe more than 25, 30 laps, that 28 car is going to be the obvious favorite. Look at the 5 of Fambro trying to side draft to hang on to his spot after getting a slow restart behind the 6 car. But Bronson Stafford has climbed his way through the field. He started in 8th. Dropped back a little bit, but now he's back up into 7th.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it to the inside of Fambro, and at this point, Fambro's going to start dropping on back again. The last time he dropped back was because he had a half spin off the turn 4, was able to save it, but I'm sure he doesn't want to go back anytime soon.
Aaron Smith in the number 70, a nice looking car on that Chevrolet Camaro.
3 wide also for this group of drivers heading down the front straight. These guys pretty antsy early on.
I'm amazed. This racetrack is very wide, and on fresh tires, you can sustain 3 wide like this. A couple laps into the run, I'm not sure that you can do this safely, as the 6 car is going to get split to the outside. Fambro up the middle, and the 83 is Shane Terry on the bottom as they enter turn 3.
Yeah, and also I think we're clearly seeing 2 tires is not the way to go at all. Someone dropping like a rocket through the rest of the order.
And that's honestly kind of surprising. I thought 2 tires would be a pretty good strategy, but that didn't even work for a lap. So lesson learned for Cass Dillon. Unfortunately, it's going to take them a pretty long time to get sorted and to go back forward. But I would have thought that'd be the strategy to do, so I'd be going backwards if I was in that car.
I was actually hearing the drivers over the radio talking about it, the tire wear being pretty bad, and they were reporting the tire wear on their cars, and it was looking pretty bad by the numbers. So with the middle part of the carcass being 50-60% left.
That is very surprising to me, considering this pavement is pretty fresh, not very abrasive, but I wonder if the low banking and the high grip is causing those tires to wear a lot. Here's Nick Delicado for the race lead down in turns 1 and 2.
It's looking like the modern cup packers. These guys are racing in a pack formation coming off of turn 2. The leaders side by side still. Bresci nowhere to go. Same thing with Thompson.
Up the middle. He's going to try to go 3 wide, but there was just not quite a hole there, Finney, and that was a crazy move by the 24. He wants this lead back, and he's going to go bottom 3 wide to do it on the front straight. If he can get overlap, he can't quite get there.
You gotta be careful too, because there's a whoa! Just hit a massive bump, I think, through the trial. That caused him to check up.
There's Riley Thompson to the outside of the 56. 28 holding the 74 hostage on the bottom. Bresci gets an awful run out of turn 2. 3 wide. Here's a 61 to the bottom. 56 up top.
How about Bronson Stafford flexing his muscles here to the inside of Bresci, trying to keep the car to stick? Not quite. He's got the back off. Thompson going to gas it on the outside, however.
Wild racing. Now he's going to cut down to the bottom, try to block off that 61. Stafford going to look for the middle. Bresci looks like a wild man right now, trying to protect that spot as the race leaders go again, door to door through the first corner.
Johnson looking like he might win this battle, coming off the corner, going to be leading over the 74 of Nick Delicado. Not quite clear of that 74 just yet.
It's so tight riding on board now with Riley Thompson. What you're just seeing is out the windshield. Behind him, it's just as bad. Couple rows deep, but you can hear the tires working overtime as they try to rip every little bit of grip out of them as they come across the line. It very much does remind me of the Cup package. You're kind of right about that. And it's a little bit surprising, but I think it's more to do with the track than the cars here.
Yeah, it looks looking at Bresci, who looking he's going to go to the outside, going to check it on the inside of Indelicato, who's actually going to back off and let Bresci on by.
I wonder if he knows that Bresci's the faster car in the short term, but it's crossover now. Maybe that was the plan all along.
I think New Bresci's going to let the stamp and set it, took it to his advantage, just back up the inside.
Oh, look at the run that he gets on the outside. Almost sucked the 74 around. And here comes Stafford to try to fill in the hole on the outside, and it looks like Indelicato's going to have to leave him in space.
Yeah, it looked like Indelicato, he hit the apron in between turn 1 and 2. That sent this car up the track, causing these guys to check up. And you see also Tyler Enzi, who's been having a really good run this race inside the top 5.
Who's also crept up here? Nate Stewart in the 13. How about starting 31st to make it up into 9th? And Curtis Yancey, 33rd to 10th.
Yeah, a lot of these guys near the back, are up to the front now. So impressive plans, as you're saying, for all these guys near here.
Checking on the Project 2 Supras as we got Curtis Yancey going for 9th down into turn 3. Buchanan's hasn't really gone anywhere, 26th. And the 76 and Welker up to 19th, so their progress has been slow. Looks pretty difficult to pass. Easy to run side by side, though.
And up ahead, I see Thomas West trying to dog the 28 of Nick Johnston and no avail at the moment. And behind them, looking at this battle with Bronson Stafford and Tyler Hensley up the inside of it. There must be a new driver inside that 44 machine, because Tyler is on an absolute roll. This race, the last season was nothing really much to speak of, but he's looking like a new, fresh driver this season. This is some door-to-door action with Shane Terrian and Bronson Stafford.
Yeah, they leaned on each other there for a little bit. Riley Thompson had a great view of that as they went through turn 3. But no damage to those cars. It was just a scratch. You know when the team owners tell you to bring back a car without a scratch on it? They meant to take it back without a scratch on it. Still a very tight pack, a lot tighter than that the first restart of the night. Again, the 61 gets kind of bullied out of the way. Colin Fambro through. Not sure Bronson Stafford appreciated that a whole lot.
I'm amazed that they did not make contact. Fambro left barely for a sheet of paper between himself and the 61.
Almost wrecked right there as they came back up. Now the 61, big dive into one.
Hits the apron, he's going to come up the track, and Fambro going to get the spot. Thompson also with a great run off of turn 2.
Nate Stewart's got a great view of this from behind. And Bresci swiping across the back of the 28 off in the distance. Ooh, 13 in the wall.
He's got 51 of Curtis Yancey to the inside. Curtis is going to take the spot and run with it.
Gastelman all the way back to 19th place, losing 20th right now.
And they're continuing to drop through the order. You can see Chad Stimson going up the inside, last week's winner.
Whoa, crossover, 3 wide by Michael Stroll into turn 3. Is that going to work?
If they give each other enough room, and indeed they will. It will work.
Impressive work there. Casey Shue in the 4, in behind. Has a little bit of work to get up to his teammates, but continuing to fight back here. J.J. Odell, Jeremy Miller's back here after the contact. Wonder how much damage he had after having contact with the 1 car, and whether or not that was extensive to repair. For the race lead, Johnson continues to hang on and beginning to stretch that gap now 0.3 of a second, and Nick Indelicato has run up to the rear tailpipes of the 24. For this group of drivers. They're fighting on the last run and also on this restart. That is actually round 3. So we're starting to get closer and closer to each other. Mitch Welker watching a battle for 15th spot. Brian Champles, Casey Lakatos, Hayden Pistorius, and himself.
And actually, one talking about Lakatos too, he actually started dead last, according to what my info is saying. Back in, it said he started 30th. For me, it says he started back in 43rd.
That might be right. He might have either not qualified or gotten an EOL of some sort, but...
Yeah. And to continue with that, too, he actually started from the pit, so he's actually with a lap down at the start of the race. That early caution helped him get back on the lead lap, and now just about to coincide the top 15.
Lakatos on a climb forward so far. Lakatos also ran really well at Daytona last week. Go back to Bronson Stafford. And you mentioned for a second, here comes the Delicato.
Press it out, the door open, and Delicato back up the inside. Both drivers give each other room. For now.
It's always for now. There's never a blanket rule about I'm going to give you space for the entire race. It's I'm going to give you space now. Maybe later we'll have another discussion about that. There's Fambro up to 4th.
Also looking like a really solid competitor. We haven't really had a chance to see his true pace because he's been climbing up through the order. Did not get a good restart, but going to work around the 24, going to hit the wall.
Oh, big tank slapper at the exit of turn 4. Gathers it back up, but that might hurt that car just a smidge. There's Will Robertson to 17. Haven't seen this car all night long. Started 38. That's almost dead last. And to the inside of the 13 in turn 1.
Almost went up into the 13. Now going to potentially lose his spot because he had a checkup. And Aaron Smith, another driver that started further back through the order.
Yeah, 29th is what it's showing for me. And a great, as I mentioned earlier, great looking scheme on that 70 car. Yellow-black always is sharp. Roberts trying to work back by in the Hardy's car. Brian Shambles in the 25 Rodenzo Radar Chevrolet Camaro. Started 32nd up to 15th. Fambro through to 3rd.
Yeah, Bresci, I think that car, I don't know, just not looking that strong. You haven't been through nearly as many laps as the last run. Not sure what's going on, but starting to fall back. So right on board with Delicato as he's going to try to take away the lead from Nick Johnson. Curious to see how he's going to do it.
Well, Nick Johnson is this league's Matt Grunberg, so Delicato knows how to deal with this kind of driver who's immensely fast. You just save your tires and you blow on by. Here comes Delicato to the race lead down in turn 1. We'll see if he can clear him by the exit of 2.
Nick versus Nick.
Drag race down the backstretch. And Delicato is clear to the lead.
Big question is going to be, can he stay there in the lead and run away with it from this 28 of Johnson? Because I would say both these guys, it's definitely, from my interpretation, what I've seen from these drivers in season past, I think it's going to come down between these two guys for the championship. Again, it's pretty early for that, but as far as pace is concerned, these two guys in a league of their own, I would say.
Well, this is a pretty good place to figure out your pace because it's so difficult to pass. But once you get clear, you're pretty much running the lap times that you would if you were all by yourself. So Delicato is setting a pretty fervent pace up front. And if we take a look at our schedule in the coming weeks here, we've got a couple interesting tracks on the horizon. Again, we started at Daytona. This week we're at Kentucky, a 1.5 mile track. We'll head to Watkins Glen next week on the 4th, so we're heading to a road course our 3rd weekend of the season. That'll be a totally different discussion. Then we head to the short track in Newton, Iowa, then to Homestead, New Hampshire, Darlington, Charlotte. We're all over the place when it comes to track configurations. And Delicato, think about the road courses last season in 3-wide, swept at Lime Rock Park. Watkins Glen isn't Lime Rock, but it's still a road course. Nate Stewart and Brian Shambles for 12th.
These two guys side by side down the front straight. Shambles slowly moving his way up through the order. Last time we saw him, he was running 14:50. Now trying to secure 12th place, but Stewart not getting at that spot on the outside.
Another battle in front of them was working between McQuistion and Bronson Stafford. And also, I just noticed on the 13, he's got Lockheed Martin on the side of that car.
Oh, the loose off the corner as well for the 13.
That was McQuistion in the 93 up to 7th. 34th to 7th. How about that climb?
Yeah, and he's another driver that's improved quite a bit over seasons past. Is usually a midfield runner, is now appeared inside the top 10 after climbing up to the door. Definitely earned it, but Stafford, you can see, trying to keep him, put him in position back.
Working lap number 72 of 117. We're well past the halfway point now. I think our favorites are clear. It's one of the top 2. Now it comes down to, are we going to get green flag pit stops? What's your strategy as we see Nate Stewart hit pit lane?
I was going to say, funny thing is you should say that because I'm hearing drivers calling down to pit roads. We're starting to see some green flag pit stops here. These guys trying to cut the run about into halves, maybe? It's a little bit early.
Well, that's an ironic paint scheme if I've ever seen one. Oh, missed his box though. Needs an IndyCar
still
brakes,
did.
I think, is what he needs.
You mean brakes actually work?
That too. Bronson Stafford hits pit lane.
You see how many of these guys trickle down the pit road. If these guys really do want to cut this 1.5, I'll be surprised if we see them don't go another 10 laps. So makes it into nice 40-lap stints towards the end of this race.
So we're expecting to just go to the end from here.
Yeah, I would think so, that these guys should be able to go to the end.
74, cutting it close at the wall at corner exit. He's driven away, though, from Nick Johnson by 0.2 a lap for the last 3 laps. He has built a 0.7 of a second lead over Nick Johnson. Fambro has actually run 28 down.
You can see if he can get by him now. I'm kind of interested in seeing Johnston if this is him falling off the page, just trying to conserve. But with pit stops on the horizon, I can't imagine you're really conserving anything at this point.
No, you're reusing up every little bit that you have. And if I were Johnson, maybe I'd want to try to beat a Delicato to pit lane, or you could try the overcut strategy. I'm not convinced. I don't like the overcut strategy at all here because of how hard it is to pass Finian. I would be trying to undercut all day long. Well, not all day long. I do it once.
Just pit every single lap.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be a great strategy. Look at this battle here. Will Roberts, Aaron Smith, Christian Gritzko, Mitch Welker, Casey Lakatos, and the 8 of Michael Stroll. Big gaggle on the backstretch.
And where there's typically a big cluster of cars, things could go wrong if someone makes a mistake. Especially when in the middle of pit stops, too. That's a recipe for disaster! Right in their head. Wow.
I think there's an ancient Native American proverb about too many cars on a racetrack at once. Oh, touch! 76 and 8 car get together on the front straight. And there's some damage to the 76. And pretty sizable damage, actually, on that left front.
Yeah, Welker just not good, not good run. Almost ended up hitting. That was Aaron Smith who came down a pit road in front of him, and then ended up getting Doring Stroll on the straightaway.
It was the other way around. I think Stroll had gotten into him. Here's Shane Terry at corner exit. There's Thomas Bressy in the 24. Has slipped behind his teammate in the early pace in this 24. Just doesn't seem to be there. That's a cause for concern here, Finney, because he was so fast outright. Makes you wonder, what did he do to that car? What has he done to the tires to make that car slip back so fast so far?
Yeah, that's the funny thing, too, because, you know, there could potentially be an answer to that in an open setup series. This is a fixed setup series, so there really isn't much you can do. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened to Bressy. I don't think he got more damage since the last run to this restart. But, yeah, just not a lot of pace in that 24 machine, as much as he had that first run, which is really perplexing.
A couple drivers we haven't talked to a whole lot yet. Calvin Filarski was a top 3 finisher last week at Daytona and started 41st. He has been pretty quiet about his climb forward today. It's some right side damage, but I think all in all, that car is capable of a top 15, maybe even a top 10, but there's still some work to be done to get that car there. John Wilco in the 62 and 19th after starting in 37th.
Run in the midfield for that machine. David Cobb also right ahead of him, and Cobb also is one of those drivers I was actually kind of hoping, again, this is only one race, but I think that it's shown some pretty solid pace to be a top 10 driver last season. This race hasn't particularly gone his way, so we'll see if he can rebound next week, as the damage he got to that car looking pretty bad after he went for a wild ride through the infield.
Nick Delicato has led 12 laps today. Actually less than I would have experienced or expected with the 28 car having led 36 laps so far. But closing on the last portion of this race, when do we expect to see the leaders come down?
I would say right about now, pretty much, because from here to the end, they've gone about 37, 38 laps in the tires. From here to the end, it's about 37, 38 laps. So I think we're going to see exodus of cars coming down pit road soon.
Shane Terrian just gotten by Tyler Hensley for 4th place, moves the 83 up to P4, the 44 back to 5th. So Hensley, Bressy, 5th and 6th, and then teammate Casey Schuback in 17th. He's got another car peeling off for pit lane. That is Will Roberts, number 17 Mustang. He'll woe that car down and just get it under pit road speed. Lock the tires up a little bit. Casey Schu will also join him. And Calvin Filarski's also come on down.
And I'm hearing more call out on the radio. I think I just heard the 5 and the 44 that they're calling to come on down. 93 as well.
Delicate balance. You're going to see Nick Johnson bail to pit lane and blow the car on down to 45 miles an hour. Cars do that very nicely, so they'll get themselves in a whole lot of cars. Bresci and a whole host of the leaders. I'd expect Delicado to be on this lap.
Yeah, you can't really stay out too long. It's just kind of asking so you put it at a disadvantage. I mean, you could stay out 1 or 2 laps, that's fine, but any more than that, you're really going to be hurting yourself. Yep, and here he comes.
Race leader to pit road.
A little bit hot. Slowed it up pretty nicely.
Also here in the 40 is Zach Buchanan had unrepairable damage to that car. And so he will call it a day. And just like last week at Daytona, a DNF for the number 40. And last week at Daytona, Fitting, it was a pit road accident for the 40 that removed that car from the race, which is a heartbreaking way to end after being so competitive early in the going. So 2 straight weeks for the 40 that car will not finish, as 74 is in a little bit hot, but he gets it slowed down. So the question is, where is the 20 to Nick Johnson? He's on the backstretch.
It's interesting to see, you know, if Johnson, I don't think he'll be held up by other traffic. Whoa, I just saw a close call between Curtis Yancey and Nate Stewart. They almost got into each other, bringing out a yellow. That's the big thing now is with drivers now with fresh tires and older tires. This is where caution can come out, and you kind of want to weigh, you know, do I want to come into pit road or do I want to stay out just in case a caution happens? And currently Shane Terrian and Thompson, notable drivers, yet to pit.
Well, there's the race leader back on the racetrack, and where is Nick Johnson? He's a long ways back, and the difference, I believe, was mostly in the pit stop itself. Full 14.5 for Delicado on pit lane. For Nick Johnson, it was a 14.5 as well, but take a look at the pit time, nearly a second faster for Delicado getting onto and off of pit lane.
You know what I think it is? I think it's the fact that Delicado has the first spot. I think he was just able to accelerate straight out of pit road. It just buys you a second, but that means a lot. You see Delicado working by, that is Riley Thompson, who's curling a lap ahead of him.
And Shane Terrian is the race leader in the 83. Looks like he's peeling off to hit pit lane. No, he's going to stay another lap.
I think this is kind of one of those drivers hoping for a caution at the moment, which I'm kind of surprised because he was running really well before we had the pit stop sequence. So I feel like he's kind of putting himself in a hole. As you see David Munn Jr., he's on and off pit lane.
Michael Stroll onto and off of pit lane. Casey Lakatos onto and off of pit lane. Oh, big mess at the exit of turn number 2, and that, one of those cars is the 28 of Nick Johnson, who has got to be maybe a bit concerned that he lost so much time on that pit sequence. It's a long way up to Delicado, and he's going to be running out of time pretty quick. Only 17 minutes in this race left if we go green to the end.
Well, you know, they say you can win or lose a race off pit road, and I mean, just because we don't have the human factor of a pit road crew operating on your car making a mistake there doesn't mean the driver can't make a mistake. And I don't think really much of a mistake. It was just the fact that Delicado just got a better run through pit lane than him.
Much better run, and it's going to leave him with a sizable lead, and we know how good Delicado can be when he's got a lead and the ability to save tire. So he will continue to cycle his way back forward. Riley Thompson is the race leader. Looks like he's going to stay another lap just to lead a lap. He already led one. He's going to pick up a second lap lead. Curtis Yancey still has led 0. He might stay out until he can lead a lap and then come on down.
Hayden Pistorius, John Wilco, Robert Kenny, Gary Weaver. So still quite a few guys. And then you go back to 8th is finally where you find Nick Delicado, who should be our leader once this is all cycled out.
And Nick Johnson is still fighting with other cars and probably losing more time. And is on 1 lap older tires as well. So that maybe not be a huge factor tonight given the pavement. But again, from what we've heard, the tire wear is significant enough that even a few laps might matter. Bronson Stafford going to lose the spot here to Nick Delicado, and Nick is saying Stafford still has to pit is what I meant to say by that, so we'll go probably a lap down to Delicado.
And also going back to Nick Johnson, not only is he stuck in behind guys, but he's got his good old friend Thomas Bresci right behind him.
Oh man, he's having a tough time. Big loose moment out of turn 4. Gonna have to go 3 wide bottom to try to get by these cars, and that has brought the 24 right back up to him. And Bresci again riding the wave of the fresh tires, should be able to go forward with this. For how long?
Threw it up the inside there, trying to make sure to get past Nate Stewart. Indeed, he did. Now they're just still working on the 57 car to their outside.
Yeah, no love lost between these two. I can't imagine that Bresci's going to cut him much of a break. Might try to go up the middle here if he can. He's going to throttle up and do just that.
Clear wide with 57 to Matt.
Oh, that's going to get tight. They touch.
Oh, they make contact.
Oh man, and I don't know if the 28 knew that he was going to go middle or if they'd have the car to his outside, but they're going to tangle again. And more damage to those cars, and I bet you more damage has been done inside the helmet. I'm sure that's getting hot in there.
Yeah, and Johnson was apologizing to that because he thought that it was all clear, and it seems to be all good. The cars say otherwise.
Well, was there a response?
Oh yeah, it was a response. They seem to be okay with it again.
All
For
right.
now, as Johnson is sideways on the inside, I'm not sure if it's going to be all fine and dandy after a few laps of this.
This is like when they say, it's fine, don't worry about it. And they walk over to the pit stall after the race and start throwing punches. And they're side by side again. These guys are like magnets. They cannot get apart from each other.
And this is honestly the pure joy of watching last season, just these two guys fighting with each other. Because there were some races that are just absolutely going at it like this. You see Bressy throw it up the inside.
He was pretty courteous there. He could have throttled back up. 28 cut down on him a little bit, but he gave him the benefit of the doubt. What's going on? We're being too nice to each other here.
Give it a few laps, honestly.
They just ran into each other about a lap ago, and wow, Bressy used up every little bit of racetrack in front of the car they had just gotten by. And they continue to lose time to Indelicato, who's running 0.2 a lap faster and just checking out.
Yeah, I think they've kind of given up on fighting that 74 car. He's in another zip code at the moment. Just he got pretty good, pretty lucky in the way everything timed out with the pit stops.
I will say, in rural Kentucky, going to another zip code is pretty much where you have to go to Walmart. I mean, did I remind you that population here is 300 people?
Yeah, I still can't believe it. I think I gotta imagine it's gotta be probably one of the lowest we've had for all the tracks.
I think it is the lowest I've seen. I've seen 900. I think Lakeville, Connecticut's like 930 something people.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anything lower than 500 before. And here comes it. Whoa, big block into turn 3. Now the helmet's gonna start getting hot. Big slide. That's gonna cost Bressy a ton of time.
Oh man.
Watch this.
Good stuff right there.
Here's a look from up above. Going down the back straightaway. And Bressy trailing is going to go left, and the 28 says, nope, nope, nope. Big swipe across the nose. Bressy trying to drive in and just could not hold that line through that corner. Now it's going to cost Bressy a spot. Bronson Stafford just got by.
And we still have Riley Thompson still yet to come down pit road. Same thing with Hayden Pistorius, Curtis Yancey, and John Wilco. All of them 53 laps on their tires and counting.
Yeah, and this is just really at this point you've committed. You'd better hope for and pray for a caution flag because there's really no way I see this strategy working out for the 56. So he's just hoping that the 24 and 28 get tired of each other a little bit quicker. That's the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series caution clock right there. I'm just kidding. You just put these two in a room together, just see what happens. Nice attention to detail on the dashboard logo there for Thomas Bressy's number 24. I think anything less than a podium would probably be disappointing for Bressy tonight, given how good his start was. He went out and led laps early. He led 30 laps in the beginning of this race, but he has not had race leader pace really since the lap that he lost the lead.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. We haven't really seen anyone truly dominate. It's kind of been split between Indelicato, Johnston, and then Bressy for the lead of this race. And actually, because Indelicato's not in the lead, he's not going to be able to pick up that bonus point for most laps led. Thompson's now taking off. I see 11 laps in lead and counting for him.
I'd have to imagine he's going to have to hit pit lane here pretty shortly, though. 54 laps on the tires and fuel tank for the 56 Camaro.
Yeah, I have them being able to go, let's see, 56 laps, so he's gonna come in pretty soon.
Yeah, well, he might be running the four-cylinder, the Hertz version of the Camaro everybody gets.
The cut package, you mean?
Wow, there's shots fired. There's John Wilco on the outside of a 3-wide move there. That's poor position with the 51 on the bottom and the 2-car of Calvin Filarski's a lap down at 27th in the middle. Bronson Stafford, Travis McQuistion, this is for 10th.
And McQuistion also having a really good run, and once the top 4 surrender their spots, he's going to jump up 4 more spots, but he's also going to pick up one here as he goes to the inside of Stafford.
Off of smoke, you see Brian Chambliss approaching as well. Curtis Yancey hits pit lane. Thompson continues to stay out. Yeah, this strategy I just don't see working out with how green this race has been.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Tom's can really go much longer, but he's continuing to take off laps. I think with Thompson, I'm a bit surprised he went for the strategy because he had some pretty decent pace. So I'm not exactly sure where he was running before we had the pit stop sequence occur, but I think he was around 10th position.
Thompson.
John Wilco, he's calling to come down pit road, saying he was story. So now Thompson finally surrendering.
Well, he might need a recharge, so he's gonna come on down and pit lane and whoa, locked it up. Did he speed? Did he get himself a penalty after all that? That would be pouring salt in the wound.
Well, he crossed the line at 60 miles an hour, so I feel like he might have.
Great looking paint on that car with the orange metallic, but he might have to spend a little naughty time in the penalty box here.
Yeah, I'm just curious because if he was able to bleed off enough time, you know, you slow down enough if you go past the line. Because I think the way they do it is like in real life where it's timed by how long you go through a sector. I think he's sitting as
he got tagged.
Womp womp. That's going to put him way down the order because we still got quite a few guys running. I mean, we still have 35 drivers still driving around on the track. So, you know, not a good run for Riley Thompson.
Yeah, that's a long time to spend in the pit lane there. And he's going to feel that. That'll drop him. He's already down in 31st position with that and still sitting. Wow. That'll turn the lead back over to Nick Delicato, who is 5.8 seconds in front of Tyler Hensley.
Yeah, and how was that? And actually, that's not just surprising because, actually, no, that is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the 44 got up here. But he's leapfrogged Nick Johnson, and Shane Terrian has split Johnson and Bresci apart.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I don't... Oh, actually, hang on. Yeah, he got around Chad Simpson on lap 86. Oh, that was actually after Chad hit the wall. Or did they say Chad Simpson? Sorry, Nick Johnson hit the wall. And that's how Hensley's able to get on by.
Riley Thompson rejoins the racetrack in 31st, 2 laps down after leading a bunch of laps and would have probably just ended up around 15th to 20th, but now he's back almost at the tail of the field, which is a really sad end of the day for the 56. So, closing in on 10 laps to go, Nick Johnson's got his hands full with drivers behind him. Out front, though, Nick Delicato, where did he come from? New series, new car, but same driver from the 3-wide National Series, where he went out and beat the best over there, Matt Gruenberg, in a season-long effort. And when I say season-long, it was literally March to July. And Delicato, right out of the gate, the second race in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series season, is definitely the dominant force tonight.
I think you definitely need to state his name, and I think definitely Nick Johnson and Thomas Bresci need to watch out for this driver because he's gonna give him a run for their money with the way he's performed this race.
And I don't say dominant because he's led the most laps. He has not.
For third place, sorry to cut you off. Battle for third place, Nick Johnson falling back as Shane Terrian throwing up the inside.
Yeah, where did he come from? And Terrian's a name that if you think back to, whoa, they touch again on the front straight. Oh boy, it's getting rowdy out there. I'm not sure Johnson appreciated that. Trying to get back to him, but couldn't. Terrian's a name if you think all the way back to 2018 in the Hardline Racing Series on SimTV. That's the last time that we've seen Terrian around.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was wondering where I recognized the name from. Wow.
And there's another driver in here that you'd also have recognized from that series, and that would be Robert Kenny.
Yeah, that one I recognized from. I also was wondering. I was like, no, it wasn't from Elite. Yeah, from Hardline too. So I see them here. Which actually quite a few drivers from Hardline ended up migrating to this
He's
series.
going by Hensley as well. To move Hensley back to third and Terrian up to second with a very strong late race surge, but it's not going to be enough with 10 laps to go to catch 7 seconds worth of time. Well, the 44 is way off pace compared to the 56. He's trying to make up time after his pit road speeding penalty on lap 102.
And in behind them, Hensley trying to hold off Nick Johnson. Looks like Hensley's starting to drop back a little bit.
And having a look at the tires on Hensley here, 26 laps on his, 26 laps on Johnson's, but they leapfrog each other, and now Johnson's found a pace to go back by.
Yeah, and also looking up at Shane Terry, and he had 21 laps on his tires. So he actually pitted later than a lot of the other guys around him. That's why he was flying up through the orders so quickly.
There's the 9 car of Hayden Pistorius. Somewhere along the line, Hayden's day went south. Currently sits 26th, 1 lap down. And he goes through and past the 28 of Johnston. John Wilco in the 62 going to follow him through.
Yeah, and we talked about drivers' days going south also at some point for Colin Fambro. He's dropped down all the way back to 12th, and he was a driver I was looking at potentially winning the race.
Yeah, he had a really strong run in the middle of the race, and I'm not exactly sure what has happened to this car, but it just doesn't seem like the handling was there in that this previous run. However, his recent laps, 32.7, are quicker than the race leader, and the question is, I wonder if that's because he was one of the drivers that had just come on down. No, he's been out for a while, so he's got pace. It's just kind of intermittent and not as consistent as it was before. Travis McQuistion, though, having a great day. Up to 6th from 34th and chasing a top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a real big improvement. Was a midfield driver pretty much for the most of last season, but really showing some solid pace now, trying to get past Thomas Brassi here in the closing stages.
And we say closing stages, we mean it. We're down to the last 3 or 4 minutes of racing. Wow, the 24 slammed whatever bump that is down there on the front straightaway. Let's have another look at what that was. It seems like we've seen this a couple times right here. He's going to slam something on the apron.
Is that a drainage cover?
It is a drainage cover right there. Drainage cover slams that car airborne. That's a big slide.
Wow.
And that'll give him up a spot. McQuistion goes through to 5th.
That's actually really cool that actually happens, because that's exactly what would happen in that scenario.
Well, that's
really awesome
laser scanning for you, supposedly. As they come down on the front straight, 24 to the bottom of the racetrack.
I don't think he's really got much tire to work with here. Hey, as I say that, gonna floor it through the 93. Never mind.
Oh, can he clear him though? He's gonna use him up. They're gonna put him in the wall. There's next into turn 2. McQuistion hangs on. That was about to be disaster.
Brassi wheeling that car down on the bottom lane. McQuistion not giving up on that outside line.
Ford versus Chevy drag race on the front stretch. 5 laps to go. Next time by, McQuistion comes on through and completes that pass. We're reminded that Ryan Blaney in real life hit that drain cover down there and also got airborne. Whoever designed that should be taken out back and maybe, disposed of. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not particularly good design. I mean, no, you have to put a drainage cover somewhere, but I mean...
Maybe not right there. Nick and Delicato, I think we're down to, 4 laps to go at this point.
Yeah, I think really the only thing that can stop them here is a late race caution.
Ryan Shamliff's about to grab a 6th spot from Brassi as well. And this is going to sting for the 24 because he had a top 5 car for the majority of the night. To lose it in the last 2 or 3 laps is really an unfortunate event, so he's going to really get desperate and get pretty defensive here, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how desperate you can get, though, especially with the way the car is handling. I think he's going to try to block Chambliss for as much as he's worth. That's the only way you can really defend it. I don't think the car can definitely be in an offensive position. He's already starting to lose time to McQuistion up ahead.
You can hear him sliding those tires. Going to try to come down the racetrack in front of the 25. Chambliss going to have none of it. Goes up the inside for turn number 1. Brassi's going to hang on for now. 3 laps to go for the race leader. Now make it 2. He has just been dominant in the late stage of the... Oh, trouble behind him! The 30 car of Miller sideways on the front straightaway. He's going to come back up across the racetrack. Caution is out, and a green-white checkered. Where did that come from?
Well, I don't know. Well, I said the only thing that could stop in Delicato was the late race caution, and the racing gods have apparently answered my prayers.
Wow. Green-white checkered. This is going to change pretty much everything. Thomas Brassi breathing a sigh of relief. He'll get to come on down. Everybody's going to come get tires, I'd have to imagine, with the exception of somebody from 10th on back, maybe trying to try something, but we saw earlier, you don't last very long on old tires.
No, I think maybe you can get away. Nah, I don't even want to say that. I don't even think you can get away with 2. You're going to pretty much have to take 4. But this is an interesting amount of contact between Miller and is that Cass?
It's Cass Silliman. Gets into the wall at the exit of turn 4, comes off the wall, turns left. I'm just not sure if Cass knew that they were 3 wide. It puts Miller in the grass, and he does a pretty good job of hanging on until the last second, comes across the racetrack, tags the wall. But a dramatic ride across the grass at a very inopportune time for the race leader. Nick Indelicato is going to be going, are you kidding me? He was about a mile away from being safe.
I'd already been taking the gloves off, too. About to start celebrating, but man, actually, I'm curious to see, where was he when the caution came out?
Down in turn 1. He just was right past it. We were actually looking at him.
Ah, okay.
Miller trying to hang on to it. So, with that said, we got a long caution period. We're going to go way over our scheduled distance, but here comes Indelicato to pit lane, and I imagine pretty much everybody's going to follow, except for maybe someone trying to roll the dice. But again, I think if you want to win this race, you got to do something, including coming to pit road. If you want to finish well, you can maybe pull the strategy of staying out, but if you want to win this race, you have to have tires.
I think you need at least something. Maybe you can get away with 2, but I don't know. Actually, no, honestly, I think you might be able to. If you're in the guy in the back, outside the top 10, it's not a terrible call. Give you some track position.
Oh, wow.
See you guys coming up pit road.
So, some changes. The 28 of Nick Johnson's going to win the race off of pit lane with a 2-tire stop. Indelicato and Terrian took 4. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I really feel like the 2-tire call can only truly work if you have a few other guys take it and you're kind of the guy out in front. So you have some, sacrifices to give to the guys on 4 tires. But with that, it's going to be tough to defend those 4 guys in behind. He's pretty much going to be a sitting duck. I still think he's going to finish well. Is he going to win the race? I don't quite know, because again, you got to consider those left side tires have been pretty beaten with 30 to 40 laps on them.
Oh, this is going to be a really interesting restart. And at Daytona last week, we had a pretty wild finish. We pretty much wadded up half the field on the white flag lap. And the driver that won the race only led 1 lap. And I'm curious if there's drivers in this front pack that are in that position. Tyler Hensley would be the highest running driver to not lead a lap yet. So maybe Tyler Hensley could repeat what Chad Simpson did last week by leading 1 lap and picking up the checker. A reminder that timing and scoring in overtime will only update once every time they come across the start-finish line. So it will not update in real time. That's an iRacing limitation. So when we go to overtime, we will use the high side ticker so that you don't get confused. All right, so...
Yeah, and also, sorry to cut you off, but also a quick reminder, too, this is a series-specific rule. For these guys, they do unlimited green-white checkers. That does not mean we're going to be here till 12 p.m., because there is a time limit. The race is set to end in about 25 minutes' time. So within that allotted time, we can have as many green-white checkers as we can fit in. So we could see multiple green-white checkers, too, because we have a decent amount of time left.
Come up onto the back straightaway, and again, we're running pretty deep into overtime as well. I mean, these cautions are pretty long. We originally scheduled for 117 laps. We're on lap 119 right now. We're probably going to have about 123 laps. That's 5 or 6 laps over our scheduled distance. So I think the driver's getting antsy to finish. But Nick Indelicato is probably in still one of the best positions to win this race. I thought that Bresci would be, but he's going to be restarting in 9th, and that's just not going to be good enough.
No, I mean, well, I wouldn't even count out some of the other guys yet. I mean, Indelicato, he's going to be slotted in behind Nick Johnson, which could be a problem in of itself. He's stuck behind a guy with only 2 tires, which could be a bit of a problem heading down into turn 1. We got on the outside lane, Tyler Hensley has been showing quite a bit of pace in this race. He's been running in the top 5 pretty much all day. And Shane Terrian, too, has also been showing some great pace in later runnings of this race. So he's sitting in 4th place, another solid contender to potentially win this race, if not finish very well.
So 2 laps of the green flag here, and drivers have a little bit of time to plan things out. What lane do you want to be on the restart? I think to win this race, you got to make the pass on the bottom, but everyone's going to be fighting for it.
Yeah, I think you just got to stick in the lane you can. I don't think you can really wait for an opening down there. You got to just use what you got, and we'll use what you've been given and use it to your advantage if you can. But it's going to be easier said than done, because obviously you've been seeing these guys bottom feed the entire race. but I would see the guys on the outside a little bit at a disadvantage.
All right, so the field rolls onto the back straightaway. Let's recap this race. It all started with Thomas Bressi leading the opening 30 laps or so. Was sort of the fastest driver of the first part of the race. Relinquished that to Johnson and Indelicato, who traded back and forth a few times, but after a green flag pit stop sequence, it was clear that Indelicato was going to be the one to beat. With 2 laps to go, about a half a lap into the penultimate lap, it was the caution between the 30 car of Jeremy Miller and the 6 of Cass Silliman that triggered that yellow and put us into overtime green-white checker. Drivers out of the race at this point include, well, it's a big list. Richard Nash in the 12, Connor Sawyer in the 48, involved in our first crash of the night. Don Runkle out 83 laps down. Bless Lopez, our second crash of the evening, in the number 1. Zach Buchanan in the Project 2 number 40, back in 39th, out with crash damage from collisions sustained during the race. Michael Skinner and Jason Brophy. Matt Hollival also out. Last driver running is 15 lap down, RJ Root in the 29 car. We have 29 drivers on the lead lap. The highest driver to not lead a lap is Tyler Hensley in second place. If he could lead the white flag lap, it would be the only one he's led.
And also looking at Hensley, he's also another driver that's starting on 2 tires. So our front row, give me guys starting on 2 tires. Everyone else has 4. Oh boy.
I think Indelicato is going to aim for that apron, and he's just going to try to roll that bottom apron through 1 and 2. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to turn it into Darlington where you dive for that apron and you ride it all the way around. It's the only way I think you're going to be able to get by Nick Johnson. Otherwise, you have to wait till turn 3. By that time, he might be gone. So it's going to get really interesting to see how this works. We come to the restart here. Predictions. Who wins this race?
The pace truck, honestly. I gotta say, I feel Indelicato's got the best chance considering he got 2 laps. I'll have to see if those tires can get up to speed quick enough to get past the guys in the front.
Reminder that timing and scoring only updates every lap in a green-white checkered scenario, so we'll keep the ticker up top, the one that's rolling, as we come on through. 2 laps to go. Green-white checker to the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Green flag back in the air from Kentucky. Johnson with a good restart, but Nick Indelicato throttling up. The 83 going to dive for the apex down on the end of the front straightaway and come down to the bottom of the racetrack. Now Johnson leads through 1 and 2. Can he run away and grab the win at Kentucky? Oh, he's loose! He's out of control!
He's getting sideways and behind.
Sideways out of turn number 2, and Indelicato to the bottom of the racetrack. 83, middle, as he tries to go 3 wide. Can't do it. The 28 pinches at the bottom. 3 wide behind him. Johnson and Indelicato side by side as they come to the white flag. Indelicato noses ahead. Caution! And we will have a second green-white checker. Wow.
And seeming to be Casey Licata is pretty much by himself that caused that caution now. Just spun loose off of turn 4.
He was on the bottom. He's going to touch the apron there a little bit. It probably upsets the car, and he was just out of control, looped it, and spun. The caution triggered probably instants before they got back to the white flag. I wanted to ride on board, and look at how tight they were coming out of turn 4. Right on board with Nick Johnson. Let's see if we can see when the caution lights come on. Did they ever fix the caution lights here? I don't know if they were ever functional. Well, there's no flag, man. I don't know when the caution comes out. I wanted to see how close we were to making it. I don't see any lights, so
yeah,
iRacing rushing out racetracks that aren't finished. But yeah.
Well,
so I couldn't tell you when it was. I can just tell you that it was pretty wild. Let's go back a little farther as well in this lap because Nick Johnson almost wiped out coming out of turn number 2. Here's a look at this. As he came through turn 2, he just loses grip in the middle of the corner right here. Car steps out. Watch the slide that he drives through up the racetrack, out of control, and Indelicato hard left to try to miss him. What a wild moment there. Here's what it looked like at full speed.
Yeah, the fact that he did it like right there, those corrections to keep that car straight, and still barely hold on to the lead. Unfortunately, he lost it into turns in 3 and 4. And you saw Shane Terry too, almost thought about going middle 3 wide, but backed off at the last second.
Right on board with Shane Terry here to watch all this from on board.
He was was loose himself. You can see him. He was able to correct the car. You see how much speed in Delgado lost. There was a gap in the middle. Trying to shoot for it, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, he drove in there hard trying to hang on, but wasn't able to do it. The 74 throttles up and used up the 28 just a little bit. He was free and clear. Now he's got to sustain this on the restart.
So Terry had a really good run. This is going to be interesting heading off to turn 1, but unfortunately it back up because caution flag flew.
With that, our second green-white checkered of the evening, and let's bring you the timing and scoring on the left-hand side of the screen just so you can catch back up where everybody is. And Delicado is the race leader. Shane Terrian in second, Nick Johnson in third, Aaron Smith in fourth. Aaron Smith started in 29th tonight. He rides inside the top 5. Hensley slipped to 5th. I thought Thomas Bresci would need another green-white checker, but he only gained 1 spot, so he wasn't able to really get anywhere. So again, if he had gotten to 5th or 4th, I think he'd be a legitimate threat to win this with his short run speed, but 8th place, that's pretty hard to overcome.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of looking at maybe trying to sneak his way into the top 5 here in case things get chaotic. But yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Taking a look at the time too, we got still 20 minutes left in the server. So by my estimates, we can get maybe another green-white checker in besides this, and potentially another one. So we could, if we're quick enough, have 4 attempts.
Now let's remind ourselves that we would have made it had the 50 car not spun, which was a single car incident. So I do believe that we'll get it on this attempt. But that's me being optimistic, and we've seen how crazy these races can get. So maybe it's not wise to bet on things going smoothly.
Yeah, especially considering, I think one time, this might have been guys, trying to be careful and take it easy. Now they see that they can, have the tires somewhat warmed up a little bit. That might go a little bit, be a little bit more crazy on this restart, trying to make up more spots.
So the field rolls out of turn number 4, and we should be coming to pick up either 2 to go or 1 to go. I'm guessing by the doubling up that this will be lights out on the pace truck. And they will not extinguish, so we'll get another. Are we to the line yet? No, we're not. There we go. And still 2 to go.
Oh man, these cautions are atrocious.
They are pretty brutal.
Also, one thing I want to ask: is the front stretch supposed to? You say the apron comes up. It's gonna be kind of hard for you to probably get an angle on it. Yeah, it's all after the start finish line. If you want to rewind and ride on board, since we have time. I'm just kind of you see this.
Oh yeah, right there.
Is that an actual thing, or?
Well, I mean,
because just the line just kind of continues on.
That's NASCAR's way of creating excitement, is they artificially shrink the track to make it more exciting. I have to say, I am pretty disappointed by the omission of caution lights. I mean, this is a pretty basic thing that is kind of useful to have in situations like that. And it's not difficult to add caution lights, guys. Why are we releasing tracks that are not done? I don't understand this.
And even besides the fact of them releasing it, it's been a few weeks.
Well, I don't even get this track has been out for months now, and I don't understand.
Oh, yeah, right, it has been out for
why is there even a rush? It's not like they're using it for anything. It's not. I don't get it, guys. I just I'll also mention I mentioned to Finian earlier, down here in the Quaker State logos, the inaugural, it says inaugural above it. That was from 2011. They didn't even bother to change out the textures. I mean, it's just kind of lazy. And as much as I like iRacing, they do things that drive me crazy sometimes, and that's one of those things.
I'm surprised they didn't just copy and paste the one on the front stretch in the grass. They could just copy and paste that one there.
You the form warriors, you don't know how games are coded. It's hard. Well, swapping textures is not hard because they did it to 15 NASCAR tracks in a week when they were required to for TV. Anyway, rant over. Let's get back to the race here. Doubled up. A little bit of a check-in here. 29 drivers still in the lead lap. Riley Thompson, the first car, 1 lap down. And remember, his pit road penalty for speeding was why he was 2 laps down back in 31st. He'll be battling with the 0-1 of Gary Weaver for a potential free pass.
He's really kicking himself a little bit. If he didn't have that pit road speeding penalty, he could have been up a lot higher in the order with these late race restarts. So, unfortunately, I mean, hey, you laid your bed, you have to. Nope, that's not how that saying goes. Made your bed, now you have to lay in it. There we go. That's how that saying goes.
I don't know what you were trying to say, but we'll roll with it. All right, time to go racing. Maybe one last time. This race was supposed to be 117 laps. We have gone 13 over by the time we get back to the start-finish to end this race. As we come on through Kentucky Motor Speedway, Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Second race of the season. Nick Delicato is the race leader on the inside of the first row. Green flag back in the air. 2 laps left at Kentucky.
Restart for Nick Delicato, driving off into the sunset here with everyone else in behind, still battling for position change here and trying to get around Nick Johnson. Will indeed do that, but several guys still lose.
Oh, crashing behind him. The 30 car sideways again. Gonna be a big mess down here. Car hard to the wall. Huge crash. The 13 car up on his lid on the back straightaway.
Oh, Thomas Bresci around in turn 3 as well. Not sure if he was able to save it. Indeed, he will. But many drivers and many different parts of the field getting involved in incidents, and the caution flag will fly yet again.
Wow, the 13 car took a ride. Let's go back and have a look at exactly what happened. I don't know if it was the 13 right here. He gets loose all on his own, comes up the racetrack, slips across the nose. The 30 car was spinning, clobbers the 4 car of Casey Shue, 91 of Christian Gritzko, slams the safer barrier, and watch this, up and over the top. The 6 of Cass Silman just underneath. What a wild ride there for the 13 car.
Yeah, massive wreck. Bring out another caution. And, we saw fairly late, right? We were talking about, the last restart going pretty well, and this just taking out, what, I think 5-7 cars?
Something like that. Cass Silman just squeaking on through. Right on board with the 6 car. Well, he was they were already loose in turns 1 and 2. Big slide. Watch this.
Whoa. And that's really as a sim racer, you just gotta, please glitch through, please glitch through.
Whoa, and I think they did.
Also, another incident I wanted to look at too is with Thomas Bresci down in turn 3, because he almost brought a completely different incident on the other side of the field.
I want to look at this one more time. Up and over. I mean, it's like something of Days of Thunder or Talladega Nights, right over the top of Cass Silman. And then you mentioned the 24 of Thomas Bresci, who got turned, I think, off the nose of the 17 car here, Phinia.
Yeah, that's Will Roberts in that machine.
Here's a look at this. Yeah, Roberts just gets in a little hot. Just tags 24. Bresci did a great job hanging on to that, though.
Yeah, Bresci's joking. Well, there go my tires. And yeah, so he's going to be struggling, I think, a bit on these last restarts. Still was able to hold on to 8, though. I
can tell you one thing. I can tell you that Thomas Bresci must be a fan of Lightning McQueen, because that's turning right to go left, folks. that is a beautiful thing. Ka-chow is damn right as he comes through 3 and 4. Nicely done. All right. Wow. We've gone almost half a fuel run over our over our scheduled distance at this point. And Nick Delicato has got to be just furious in this car because he has almost won this race twice.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's in a really good spot. At least he's able to get the lead back, and we saw he had a lot of control of that last restart. That being said, another restart is always another chance for things to go wrong. And so what I'm seeing with the time, we got 13 minutes remaining as we're pacing around, so we still have the chance, I think, to get another one in, another 4th degree white checker, but I'm sure these guys are going to be sick of pacing by that point, considering how long the cautions are.
I wonder, and someone, I don't have real Larry Mack, I've got discount Larry Mack. If someone out there knows how, since the unlimited green-white checkered rule is implemented, what is the most green-white checkers that we have seen?
I can't imagine it's more than 3.
I don't think it ever has been, and that's why I'm curious. I don't think NASCAR has ever seen more than 3 green-white checkers. I think ARCA has seen more than 3, because they've always had the unlimited rule, but I'm not sure what the Cup or Xfinity Series have seen. I'd have to imagine it was a plate race.
That's a pretty safe assumption.
So the sun starting to descend. Track temperature dropping just a little bit. And one of the drivers that liked to have seen that caution was Riley Thompson. He got a lap back, and will now have the chance to drive up however many positions wreck out in the next caution. Might be 0, might be 100. All right, we should see the lights extinguish on the pace car. Or not, two laps ago. My goodness, these cautions are long.
Yeah. A lot of the drivers are coming over there. They're a bit sick of pacing.
Reminder that this weekend, I'll be at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for Grid Life Touring Cup action. Saturday, Sunday, the stream will be live, professionally done by Specialty Streaming. That will be on the Grid Life YouTube channel Saturday and Sunday. Be commentating Grid Life Touring Cup action. Drivers that you know and love, Tom O'Gorman, DJ Alessandrini, Eric Catil, all the drivers you know and love from iRacing. They will be competing in their cars Saturday, Sunday, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. I'll be there. I'll be at Sonoma Raceway in California next week for GT World Challenge America. I'll be working on a private stream with CrowdStrike, and I'm not sure if that where that will be, and I think it'll be on the CrowdStrike YouTube channel, but that will be at Sonoma Raceway next Saturday, not this next Saturday, 2 weeks from now. It'll be the August 9th weekend. Then the week after that, I'll be right back at Grid Life in Colorado at Pikes Peak International Raceway in Colorado Springs for the first festival of the 2020 Grid Life season. And that might not be all your favorites, but I do know that it'll be a lot of your favorites from Grid Life Touring Cup. It'll probably be filled about 25 cars out there. So tiny roval, going to be a lot of fun. So the pace truck is going to bring us onto the front straightaway, and we are now 17 laps over our scheduled distance. As the truck comes across the timing and scoring line, we'll get the 1 to green notification. Lights extinguish, and we'll re-rack him, restack him, and go for a restart another time.
Yeah, we'll see if this is going to be the last one to end it, or if we have a chance of doing 4.
Nick Johnson restarting in third. Now, I wonder if he's regretting the 2-tire call at this point.
Yeah, probably, because I think he thought this race was going to end 20 minutes ago. And we wouldn't be out here for as long as he had been. He's been still able to hold out on a 3rd position, but restarting for 3rd is not going to probably be particularly good or in his favor. So see how long he can hang on to that spot, or if he can still remain at the top 5, because you can bet that everyone else behind him is trying to change that.
So I'm hearing that the most green-white checkers, and this is unofficially confirmed, but the most green-white checkers was the 2018 Daytona Xfinity race. 5 green-white checkers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. According to Racing Reference. Thanks to Alaba for getting that out for us as we come around to the green flag this time, 2 laps ago again. Might be 2, it might be 10, who knows, but as the pace truck comes out of turn 4, when we see the white flag, it'll be checkers or wreckers for Nick and Delicato, Shane Terry, and Nick Johnson, Aaron Smith, Tyler Hensley. Green flag back in the air, and a launch for Indelicato is going to bring us back to the green flag. Quishin, big block into turn 1 on Brian Chambliss. Shane Terrian getting swarmed by Tyler Hensley on the bottom. Johnson to second as we come up onto the back. Oh, massive crash behind.
Oh, man. And he got a 4th attempt. Aiden has a massive record, he's saying, on the in between turns 1 and 2. I'm curious to see who on earth was involved in it, because that involved pretty much half the field, and that actually started with the 5 of Colin Fambro.
Wow. Well, back to another caution flag here. And this race had only had 2 cautions prior to the green-white checkered. The 30 car. Let's go back and see how this all started. The 5 car in the outside lane just gets loose. Comes down the racetrack right in front of the field, and that's just everybody. That's the big one.
Yeah, and so many guys involved.
That's easily 10, 12 cars all in it there as they came down the racetrack. Fambro's in it, the 42 of Chad Simpson, the 11 Alb. 57 is in it as well as the 6 car. I think, did Cass Silman make their way through that? I can't see. 42 took a big ride into the safer barrier. Silman comes in at the bottom of the shot there.
Oh, yeah, there.
And just sneaks through. We got a ride on board with the 6. Gonna get smoky, folks.
Oh yeah, Mike. Whoa! Whoa!
No tires, just gas. There's a little bit of cars everywhere out here. With the caution out, we're going to step away for a moment. We'll be right back for our 4th attempt at a green-white checkered in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series.
For those who competed decades ago, speeding down highways, through towns, country roads. For those who sat watching on the sides of the street, who found solace in chaos and thunderous speed. Even for those who grew up without the sights and the sounds, and live without race cars shaking the ground. Who don't understand why racing appeals to our fascination, wonder, and the way that we feel. A purpose-built place to camp and spend time with friends, watching racing together until darkness descends. Though no longer do the streets rumble and roar, there's a place just for this, a park to explore.
A road racing circuit before the assault. The 4 twisting, beautiful miles at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. For 6 brutal, ear-shattering hours, its serenity will be violated by the raw power of screaming racing machines. It's the famed end-of-season endurance classic, the Road America 500. The specially constructed race circuit at Elkhart Lake at normal speed is a scenic 4-mile drive through fall-tinted Wisconsin countryside.
Hidden by forests near Elkhart Lake, not a path nor a trail, but a road meant to race. In a town too quiet, the refuge we seek, Road America, the racetrack, the national park of speed.
Welcome back live to the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series from Kentucky Speedway for the 2nd round of the season in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Daytona last week, Kentucky this week. I thought the big ones were done last week when we left Daytona Beach, Finian, but clearly not the case. We wadded up about 10, 12 cars at the exit of turn number 2. We're not done yet. Our 4th attempt at a green-white checkered coming soon.
Yeah, and well, it's a bit iffy on that front because we only got 3 minutes left as these guys are still pacing. If the lights go out on the pace car this time by, we'll be able to get that restart in. That being said, if they're not able to, we might be out of luck.
Well, the 3 minutes, it takes about a minute to pace. So we're going to have about a minute and a half. We will just make it if the lights go out this time.
Yeah.
But they have to go out this time. There's no exception for that. It's going to be close, too. It'll be within 30 seconds.
Yeah, and the drivers definitely know what's going on. We don't, so it's going to be fun for all of us watching to see if we are going to finally have one more restart. And I definitely know for a fact that this will be at least a SimTV record for how many overtime attempts we've had.
Yeah, 4 is definitely going to be a record. And Fuel doesn't hold the caution record. That actually belongs to Outsider Racing League at 25. Fuel got close last season, but we will get the 1 to green.
Oh boy. Yeah, well, after curious is if we're gonna get all the laps in, or if this is gonna be if we're just gonna have one lap. Because I don't know, because usually what happens when you have time-based race and laps as well, if the time runs out, you get the next time you cross the line, you then take the white flag lap.
So either way, it's the same.
Have 2 laps to go.
Yeah. So there's no circumstance under which we don't have 2 laps to go.
Unless iRacing decides to be iRacing and just give us one.
We don't
lap.
have
That's
caution
very
lights.
much
We don't
the
have a
case.
flag man, but we have a full crowd. But who knows what they will or will not include? It just seems like they decide on a day-to-day basis. But hey,
It's like
Weedsport,
Wheelbarrow.
but Weedsport Speedway, another dirt track that is exactly the same as all the other dirt. Never mind. But they're different. All right, so we come through 3 and 4. 2 laps to go. This will be our final attempt at a green-white checker due to the time constraint for the series. Nick Indelicato has been waiting, and actually, with all these extra laps, he's got 49 laps led now, which might actually put him the most laps led of the field as we come out of turn number 4. Green flag again in the air with 2 to go. Thomas Bressy driving to the bottom of the racetrack, Fenny, and trying to grab any spots he can get after dominating the early parts of this race.
Yeah, let's see if he can hang on here. Oh, never mind. Caution back out. Race is over.
Oh, and I'm trying to see who that was. And oh, another car upside down. It's Robert Kenny. Tumbled in turn number 2. Wow. Well, we did have the lap extended, but the time is going to make this expire here shortly. So Nick Indelicato, out of turn number 4, will pick up the white flag this time through.
Yeah, and solid job. And I'm actually curious if we could quickly check back at how many laps Nick Johnston has led.
Johnston has led 40 laps. So Nick Indelicato, with the extra laps provided by the green-white checkers, will steal the most laps led point tonight by 11 laps. And all of those 11 laps were due to the green-white checkers.
Oh, man. That is pretty funny in a way, man. Now I'm sure Nick Johnston's not gonna find it too funny because he would have at least had that one bonus point to his name, but Indelicato gonna get from just the sheer amount of cautions we've had in the later parts.
Well, checkered flag came a little later than we thought it would tonight, but Nick Indelicato, after coming from the 3-wide racing league where he won and beat the best there, he comes to Fuel, and in his first race this season on a 1.5 miler, will pick up the checkered flag at Kentucky Speedway as they come on through. On a drive by Nick Indelicato. We didn't get the official checkers yet, but it said final lap a lap ago, so this is how they're going to finish.
No, I think it's one more lap.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so Aaron just came over the radio. I hope not. Hope we're not doing this again.
Well, my defense, the final lap trigger is automatic. It came out a lap and a half ago. So the 74 won this race, and you have to wonder, Finian, is this going to be a championship contender? Because the pace that we saw to him tonight, the laps that he led, the patience that he showed when he was not leading the race, that tells me that this is going to be a driver to fight for the championship right alongside the 28 of Nick Johnson and the 24 Thomas Press.
Yeah, no, I definitely think he's going to be a championship favorite, even more so than the 28 was last season, which is definitely saying something because Johnson was definitely the man to beat last season, and really Thomas Bressy was the only man that really could beat the 28 on some occasions, and there were a few other drivers up in the mix too, especially Colin Farmer, who had a really good run towards the end of the season as well. But yeah, definitely, I think as far as pure pace and early on in this season, looking to be a 74, that's going to be the man to be. Johnson, Fambro, and Bress are going to have to find something else, another gear or whatever. Maybe do a Michael Waltrip and put some jet fuel in the car to try to catch up to 74.
Well, I will tell you some other finishers that should get some praise. Aaron Smith in the number 70. He crept up inside the top 5. Brian Chambliss into 8th. Will Robertson 9th. And Mitch Welker comes back in 10th. I still don't have a checkered flag flying here, Finian. This is because the flagman didn't show up to work today. We're just going to pace around here forever until he comes to work.
Oh, man.
This race control is just so bad.
It's like actual NASCAR.
It's like real NASCAR, but probably actually worse. Because real NASCAR at least has brains working on problems instead of making more problems.
And Aaron Smith, speaking of which, he just came on the radio, just said he has only a gallon of fuel left.
Yeah, again,
Yeah, the drivers are. I'm listening to the radio. The drivers are equally confused as to what's going on.
Well, the race is continually being extended. We have now have 145 laps being shown, which is still. I mean, I don't see how this is just going to keep doing this. I mean, we're just going to not end.
There's somehow a scoring error on an electronic game.
Dude, I don't get it. They didn't even install caution lights. I don't even know if the track knows that they're under caution. Oh, man. Well, now we wait. Well, what? I mean, well, I guess we'll look at the crash after, which might be tomorrow, but... Well, thanks for joining us again. You know, this is a weird one. While we're waiting, again, as I mentioned, I'll be at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course this weekend for Grid Life Touring Cup. You can catch me on Saturday and Sunday on the Grid Life official live stream on the Grid Life YouTube channel. It'll be linked in our Discord and our website when it goes up. Come across the line. Still on lap one. No, we got another lap extended. Okay, good to know. 146 laps now.
Yeah, and
you know what?
Man.
This is working Nick and Delicato's favor. He's keeping lead laps led.
Yeah, so I'm kind of waiting on official word. Yeah, so we're being told. So right now, Will is just saying. Will Roberts, who's the lead admin for the series, is saying just follow what the sim says for now. They're saying if they have to, they'll just go back to wherever everyone came back across the line when the caution came back out to call it a result.
Oh,
so
my
they're
goodness.
just kind of letting the sim handle it.
Okay,
at
so
the
can I
moment.
just get this straight? This repave of Kentucky that was deemed more important than Watkins Glen and more important than Atlanta or any of the places that need to be done. This track brought into iRacing a couple months ago. It was rushed so bad into the service that they messed up the caution race control, didn't add a flag man or caution lights, and here we are like 3 months after they released this track and it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I mean, that sounds like standard fare. I mean, I still don't think they fixed the Minecraft fireworks glitch either.
Oh, yeah, where the fireworks literally look like they're out of a game from 1986.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, are we gonna get another lap? Let's see, we're on lap 144 of 146. Hey, we got a 1 to green!
Oh, wow.
Are we
That's
racing?
a twist. I don't know. I mean, okay.
I think we're racing, guys. We have 3 laps to go, coming to 2.
Yeah, I have no clue what is going on, because, okay, it's saying 3 laps to go. Oh, I guess we are going
We're
back
going
Oh,
racing,
boy.
boys. We're not done yet. Scratch all that.
Aaron's going to run out of gas.
Oh my goodness. This is gonna be real good. Real good. Car rolling around there with the blown motor, that would be Gritsko. Just trying to roll around.
Well, you see the guys are really trying to run the tires back up.
I mean, here we go, boys.
Oh boy. I'm curious if another caution comes. Do we just keep repeating the cycle?
Finny, and you are.
Is this Groundhog's Day? Is this gonna keep
You're
going?
an evil man. You are.
We're just stuck in a loop.
Evil man.
I kind of want a caution to come out just to see what would happen.
Well, I kind of do too. All right, we're rolling out of turn 4. I guess we'll try this again. Pace truck's off, and this is like the after show. This is the PS of the Kentucky race in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Racing again, green flag and white at the same time. I don't know how that happened.
Now I'm going to turn once again. Delicado with a solid lead still. Shane and Nick Johnson side by side. He's trying to clear. How about Aaron Smith? He's going to run out of gas, I think. I don't know if he's got enough to make it to the end.
Here comes Bressy, gonna dive up the inside looking for a top 5. Can he grab one in the final moments? Finally, checkered flag for Nick and Delicado. It took way too long, but he'll get to finally celebrate. Behind him, the 70 of Aaron Smith holds on to 4th. They come across the line and they'll finish things out under green flag conditions finally. A couple positions got shuffled. But Nick and Delicato. Oh, they're still rolling. I don't know if they're protesting or what, but checkered flag finally for Nick and Delicato, and I'm sure he's breathing a sigh of relief. We're still racing.
Yeah.
They're
confused.
I got a checkered.
They're asking if the race ended.
Oh my goodness.
It said race over on my screen.
It says race over here too. Oh my goodness.
Okay, it seems now they're slowing down.
iRacing, fix your.
Okay, so it seems that the lap prior that they came across that we thought was finished, that actually was the finish. I don't think the drivers were displayed that information.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, this is the first.
Now, hopefully it'll last. All right, well, Nick and Delicato led 57 laps, 20 of which, no, scratch that.
No, more than that.
30 laps, we're 30 laps over our scheduled distance.
Oh man, yeah, that's a long time.
30 laps over our scheduled distance. I can't say that I've ever seen that happen before.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you ever?
I've never, and I never want to again.
Well, hopefully iRacing fixes this at some point.
That's where you're wrong. Let's have a look at the result. I have no idea if these are right. These are always unofficial. Unofficially, Nick and Delicato, the race winner. Shane Terry and Aaron Smith, Nick Johnson, Thomas Pressey.
That seems to be right. That's what's showing in the server.
Thank the Lord.
Something worked.
I don't know. Dave Mott Jr. got an 11th place out of that. Good run for him. Casey Shute comes back 16th. Casey Laconis 18th. Cass Silliman 20th. That'll be a disappointing run for them. And Gary Weaver back in 21st. Bronson Stafford 22nd. That'll be a disappointing run for the Canadian after running up inside the top 10 for most of the night. We're not going to take too long to get into the post-race show here, just because I know everyone's been around for so long. Give me 1 second to jump away for 2 seconds to realign the replays here. And we'll be back with your race winners. Stay with us. Welcome back live to the Fuel Mission 22 Premiere Series here now with our second place finisher, Shane, in the number 83. Shane, take us through your thoughts, because it was a pretty wild end of this race, but your night as a whole was pretty solid. You started back in 17th, worked your way up through the field, ended up finishing in second, but restart calamity and confusion and race control problems. What happened? Walk us through it.
I mean, I came into this race struggling. I couldn't save my right front to save my life, so then I ended up just going to grab a beer and just driving the car. And I ended up being really fast on long runs, and it paid off. I mean, I was content with second because I was so bad. Well, I thought I was going to be bad, and then first green white checker, I think I would have passed the 74 on the outside, and he was like 6 feet from the line while I was making my move. But yeah, that having green white checkers when the timer expired in the race was very odd. It said checkered flag on after the first lap on the green white checkered, but nobody lifted, so we were all just being cautious. So that was very confusing. I've never had that happen before.
Well, next week we're going to head to a road course where hopefully some of this calamity will be back to normal, because road courses are at least simpler from a race control perspective. Your thoughts on heading to upstate New York next week to run on the road course?
I don't know. I mean, I just did a road course on Sunday in the Cup car, so I hope it's somewhat like that in the B car. I know the B car is going to be a little tighter, but we'll see. I'm decent at road courses, but I am nowhere near a winning car when I go there, so we'll see.
Shane, thanks for talking to us. I know it's been kind of a long night, so we'll let you get going, but appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Moving on now to our next driver, be Aaron Smith, third place in the number 70. Aaron, I know it was a long night, but 29th to third. With all the chaos and confusion at the end, you found yourself on a podium inside the top 5. Is there any explanation for what just happened, or are you just as bewildered as we are?
Yeah, I mean, come lap 117, I was expecting to finish in 8th place, but we got that last 5 or so restarts in, and we were able to our way up into third. I ran out of fuel right across the line, so it couldn't have ended at a better time. But yeah, we had a pretty solid race. I don't really race these cars very often, so to be able to hop in tonight and get a good result like that, it's pretty good.
Oh, and I was just talking to our second place finisher who wasn't really sure about what to expect next week at Watkins Glen. Can we expect you there? And do you think you can have a good run at the road course in upstate New York?
Oh, absolutely. I love running road courses and these stock cars, so we should have a pretty good result there.
Aaron, thanks so much for giving us the time. I know it's been a long end of the night, so thanks for talking to us. Good job on the top 5. We'll see you at the Glen.
Alrighty, thank you.
Sure thing. Moving on now to the race winner, Nick Indelicato. And Nick, I don't know what happened, but you still won the race somehow after all that. Here's an interesting fact, is that you had not led the most laps before the green-white checkers. After we went 30 laps in overtime, you clinched the most laps led. What the heck, man? Take us through it.
It was good restart practice, that's for sure. Yeah, no, I had a really good battle with Nick and Thomas at the start, and they were beating and banging, so I was watching them, but I did my thing, saved tires like I did in 3 wide, and pulled past Nick. We had a green flag stop. I'm pretty sure I gained like 3-4 seconds on that, capitalized on that well. Yeah, when I saw them take 2 on that, when a caution came out, I mean, I knew my luck. I knew a caution was probably going to come, but I saw Nick and I think it was a 44 take 2 tires, and I knew at that point if I got a good restart, which we had many of them, that I'd be able to get around. It was almost bad, but somehow pulled it off.
Well, Nick, I know next week we head to a home track of yours. That'll be Watkins Glen, New York. And it's a road course where last season in the 3-wide series, you swept at Lime Rock Park. Coming off a win in the second race of the season, how does that make you feel going to a home track and a road course next week?
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm pretty decent. I don't know how the Xfinity cars handle there. I'm going to have to do my practice. I know Aaron is insanely good at road courses, so definitely have some competition. Ton of fun. It's my first year in this series, so I'm still getting used to racing around some of the people. But it's going to be fun. I missed Daytona, so I knew I had to come here as a 1.5 miles and try to get it done, which I did. Took a little bit longer than expected, but it was good.
Well, you got it done, Nick. Congratulations, and good job outlasting all those crazy restarts, especially that last one where they all hell broke loose. But congrats, and we'll see you at Watkins Glen next week. Yeah,
thank you guys for hosting this. Thanks to Fuel for putting this on.
All right, Nick, we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.
Wait.
All right, Finian. Well, I guess final thoughts on this race. There's a lot to go over, but I think most of our confusion sort of already expressed in a way. Anything that you want to touch on before we head to hopefully a more normal week next week?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just really looking forward to the rest of the season. I mean, we saw some fantastic racing, and besides the ending, which was pretty chaotic due to numerous factors, but these guys, when they were just in normal race conditions, we only had 2 cautions, considering the fact we started with 44 guys that took the green flag. That is really good, and these guys just put on a really good show, and really competitive guys up in the front. I just can't wait to see the rest of the season unfold.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. It was a little longer than we expected, but we'll be back with you again next Tuesday from our home track in Watkins Glen, New York, the 7-turn road course, the super highway of speed. Back there next week. Next race that you're going to see on SimTV is going to be Thursday night. It'll be the Scars Porsche Super Cup. That will be from Le Mans on Thursday night. Then it'll be Saturday, Outsider Racing League action. We've also got Formula I this weekend as well, so lots to look forward to this weekend. Keep your eye up on the uploads. Make sure you're subscribed for more. We'll see you, and again, this weekend I'll be at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on the Grid Life YouTube channel Saturday and Sunday. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.